MR.
Well, good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Good morning, Blake. I'm doing good. How are you?
Excellent. What do you got for us for headlines this morning?
We have a serious collision in the
Oh, no.
eastern districts in the vicinity of Wiltshire Drive that is causing the road to be closed, part of the road. So if you live anywhere east, you're going to have undoubtedly a very slow commute into town
Whereabouts?
today.
Whereabouts is that?
Close to Wiltshire Drive. So it is Shamrock Drive between Northward and Mid Close.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so everybody's saying in the vicinity of Wiltshire Drive. Accident happened around 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'm probably guessing that it's likely a fatality because if they've got the road closed all these hours later, it's because they're actually investigating fatality, but the police haven't quite said that yet.
Mm,
So we'll
that
keep our
sucks.
eyes and ears open to inform everyone. But
Also,
yeah, expect traffic delays.
I noticed driving in this morning in my particular way I get to come to work is I go all the way down Linford Pearson.
Hmm.
And it looks like CUC has one of the two new lanes blocked. I guess they're starting to work on some of those utility poles that are kind of in the path of the new where the new road is going to be. So why
Oh,
why
right.
they're why they're working on that during the morning rush, I have no idea.
Oh,
But it's down to one lane like the old days.
oh
So
no.
it was already being backed up when I was driving through there
Ugh.
earlier this morning. Yeah.
I
So
guess the only good news is that at the end of the day, it'll be done maybe before school starts next week. Well,
potentially,
traffic will double, but I don't know.
but they've had all summer.
I know. I know. It always puzzles me why they wait, knowing that the traffic will
Yeah.
increase as soon as kids are back in school.
Yeah.
So, there's been a request from the family of the young lady who died in Monday's fatality. Her name is Alini Revi Villegas, and she is only 20 years old. She is a Cuban national, and they've started a funding page to assist a go get funding, is what it's called, to assist with repatriating the body back home and funeral expenses. So if you're interested in donating, please go visit the CMR page. We've got a story up and the link in the story where you can send a donation through. So very, very sad situation.
Yeah.
This lady was trying to live her best life at 20, and then that's it.
She wasn't even here that long, right?
She was here for about, I think, 6 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she came at 15.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
How do you come at 50? Was she with her family or how do you come at 50?
Apparently her dad was here or is here, I believe still,
Okay.
with his wife and another child.
Uh,
So,
hmm.
yeah, sad. A manager has been convicted. So his name is Timothy Schools. Interesting name, 61 years old. Investment manager. He's been convicted in the collapse of £100 million. That's 121 million US, in case you want to know. Cayman Islands based legal financing fund. He was convicted on Wednesday of fraud. So, a London jury found him guilty of fraudulent trading, fraud by abuse of position, and money laundering after deliberating for more than 28 hours. So, no
Wow.
bueno. Yes. Um, so they allege and have now found him guilty. He's also a former lawyer, which is interesting, of founding Axon Legal Financing Fund in 2009 to provide loans to law firms pursuing no win, no fee lawsuits. And then they say he siphoned off nearly 20 million pounds from investors to buy luxury properties and cars.
Hmm.
And it was an unregulated collective investment scheme that secured over 100 million pounds from about 500 investors. So I think he's probably going to jail.
Wow.
Yes. So, if you're interested in getting a visa to travel to the United States of America, appointment
I saw
times
this story.
are. You talked about this?
No, I saw it on your page.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
Is that
Appointment
true?
times are falling in the fall of 2024,
What?
and we're only in 2022. So, that's about 2 years. Now, we did reach out to the Jamaican consulate because we had someone say, oh, in April my wife went there and they assisted, and it was like only a 10-week process, and the Jamaican consulate said, nope, that's no longer the case. So they're supposed to send us some sort of an official response in writing, and we are waiting for that. So as soon as we get that, we will update the story as well. Because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, can the Jamaica consulate do anything?" They can do very little here in the Cayman Islands, unfortunately. So yeah, that's kind of crazy, right?
Is it this? Why is it different now than it was, back in the day, years ago, a couple of years ago, before pre-pandemic or whatever? What was the wait
They're
time?
just saying that there's a backlog
Yeah.
because of the pandemic, and that obviously interrupted their consular operations worldwide. And so, they said there's a global backlog, and, the region is no exception. And they're also prioritizing work and student visas and immigrant visas, as opposed to someone who would need a visitor visa, for example. So I
'Cause
think the ones who are really impacted are the tourist visit appointments.
Yeah, because if you hold a Caymanian passport, don't you have to go to Jamaica to get a US visa? Is that how it works?
If you have a Cayman passport, you can get a waiver.
Oh, you can.
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of Caymanians will travel. As far as I recall, waivers are good for normally like just a specific trip, right? So you can't apply to get those. So yes, your option is to also get your UK passport so that you don't need.
Right.
You can do the ESTA option
Mhm.
instead of getting a US visa at all. So
Yeah.
yeah,
My
but
wife
but
does,
you
yes.
gotta plan ahead. You gotta plan ahead. So it's important now that you know what you're doing in terms of travel. Don't leave it to the last minute. Essentially.
All right, we'll catch Sandy's show right now on Bobo 89.1 FM, and I'll see you right back here on KISS tomorrow around this time for the Friday headlines. Have a good one.
Thanks. You too. All right, let's get it, folks.
Peppermint, sorrel, ginger, beaver grass, or English. Get it ready. Your morning tea just got hotter.
Ooh, honey child.
On the cold, hard truth. Bobo 89.1 and Cayman's #1 talk show are bringing you morning talk like no one else. Monday Rewind, Impact Wednesdays, Caribbean Connections, and much more. Don't miss a beat with what's happening in the local community. Just keep sipping your tea.
What a mess.
Here's your host, live and direct from the Cayman Islands, Sandy Hill.
Morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday. I was a little bit confused with the days this week. So yesterday I was saying to someone, "Oh yeah, tomorrow is," I said something, and then I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's Thursday," but I was thinking today. In my brain, I was a day behind. So I was thinking today was Wednesday. And they were like, "No." So yes, a little bit behind, but it's okay. I think we're on top of things this morning now. Good morning to everyone. So today I'm not having ice water. I'm having room temperatured water. Trying to get the situation under control with the voice. I don't know why it's hard for me to drink. I don't know why this lid doesn't fit this thing. This is the wrong lid. It's hard for me to drink room temperatured water for some reason. So my phone lines are not exactly operational this morning. Ugh, I'm still trying to figure out. I told you guys I got a new board, and it doesn't really play well with the iPhone. And then, I'm trying to come off the Bluetooth. And so the short of it is I now have a Samsung device. And you know how hard that is for an iPhone user, Joe. And I have it connected and it's not really working. Like people can hear me, but I can't hear them. So I'm trying to figure out why that is. So after this morning's show, I'm going to have to get on the phone with tech support and try to figure out what little setting do I not have correct, because I'm sure it's probably something so minor. So I can hear like music through the phone. I can hear all sorts of stuff. I can hear when I'm dialing the person if I'm calling out, but once they pick up, then that's where the issue is. So we're going to try to get that sorted out hopefully for tomorrow's show. So yeah, that's where we're at with phone calls this morning. Let me see here. Okay. So, right. All right. So, good morning to everyone. Who do we have joining us? We have Miss Vernita. She says, "Thank you, Jesus, for everything. God bless you." Good morning to Catherine, who's watching. Sonia's here. Thank you very much. Siobhan. Olivia, good morning. Dean says, "Good morning, Sandy and CMR listeners." Yes, beautiful morning in the Cayman Islands. Raul says, "Good morning, Cayman, watching from the Philippines with Adonis Resplendor." What does that mean? Is that somebody's name or who? What is Adonis Resplendor? I have no clue what that is. Do tell us. Tashir is also here. Good morning to you. Marshall, got it locked. Sarah says, just sent traffic update on accident to your WhatsApp. Oh, okay. Let's see what's going on here. Traffic update. Traffic update, Sarah. So where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there you are. So my husband just called and he said the police have opened a lane going into town. So you will be able to turn left on Beach Bay Road in the normal way. The accident scene is there, it's still there and not yet cleared. Why haven't we received any pictures of this accident scene? That's a bit unusual. Okay, let's provide an update this morning. Let me see here. All right, give me 1 second, and I'm going to provide a bit of an update. Okay. Traffic update. All right. Why can't I edit this? Ugh. Facebook can be so annoying. All right, it's not allowing me to edit this. I don't know why. Oh, I think I need to switch accounts. Oh my goodness. They've made so many changes recently. So one of the things that Facebook has done is they have they now treat okay, if you have a professional page, I don't know how many of you have pages, like if you're a business, whatever, sometimes politicians have pages and so on. It is it is okay, so let me see if I can do here. So yeah, so you had a personal page that managed as an administrator the business pages. And recently they've made some changes that are a little bit weird. No, I shouldn't use the term weird because they're not weird, they're just different. And so essentially what it is those changes allow you to where do I put this down? They allow you to have it's like the professional page is almost professional page is almost a page on its own right now, like it kind of stands more alone. traffic. So yes, be impacted. All right. Okay. Here we go. So thank you, Sarah, for the update as well. So basically, she's saying that you can drive around the accident scene, but it's moving slowly. And yeah, if anyone can grab a photo for our story, which undoubtedly will go up later, do let me know. Diamond Princess, good morning. Good morning to Felicia. Good morning, Scott. Are you having a waffle this morning? Delicious. Scott, I got to tell you that I talk so much about waffle monkeys on the show that when people go there for the first time, when Kevin was here, did I tell you? When Kevin was visiting last time, he's like, hey, I finally decided to try waffle monkeys because you're always talking about it. And he went in. What did Kevin have again? I'm trying to remember what he ended up getting. Was it the waffle and chicken? I can't remember, but he was like, oh my God, it was so good. And I said, well, send us a picture. Like we can post a picture of you, having whatever. And he's like, oops, I ate it all already. Yeah. So this was last month. He says, I'm trying waffle monkeys for the first time. And, and I said, well, what are you having? And he says, nuts about chocolate, which apparently is like amazing. So he sent like the stock photo of the nuts about chocolate. And I was like, well, send your photo of like, you taking a bite of this nuts about chocolate. And he was like, oh, I kind of ate it already. And I was like, what? Yeah. So he said, I swallowed it. It's gone. And it was so good. OMG. And then Debbie, I don't know if Debbie's listening yet this morning, but Debbie went there recently as well. And she got the sausage rolls. I think she ordered some for a party. She was telling me that she was having a party, and she's like, yeah, that sounded like exactly what we needed at the party. So those are definitely good for parties. I'll be ordering mine again for my Christmas party. They make excellent hors d'oeuvres and finger licking good. So good morning to Dean. Dean says, I only drink room temperature water and most drink, to be frank. Yeah, I don't know what it is about room temperature water for me that is just not entirely enticing. I don't know. I just don't. I tend to need a little bit of ice in my water. Thank you, Catherine. She says that the accident is somewhere in the middle of the road. Irvlyn, good morning. First Lady Jayanne says, good morning, Miss Sandra. Looking beautiful. Thank you so much, my darling. Carmelie, good morning. Damien, good morning. And there is Scott going, thinking about waffles in the morning. The smell of waffles is like amazing. So, lots still going on around the world. So yesterday we kind of started a bit of an interesting conversation about non-payment of staff. We're going to get back to that because, we had a guest on. We were trying to be respectful of the time that our guests had booked. And I kind of feel like we weren't really finished with that conversation yet. And I have since discovered other things, as is normally the case. So we're going to talk about what those other things are. So good morning to Miss Morna. Milicia, good morning to you, my dear. How are you? So yes, check this out here. This is what Kevin had sent us. This is the what did he say it's called? Nuts about chocolate. Oh my God. And listen, they're not just a breakfast. Like you can go there and find stuff on the lunch menu. You can go, I think they close at like 4 or 5 o'clock. So not exactly dinner, but take some sausage rolls home for dinner. They're really good. So we'll continue that conversation. Today is Thursday. So, normally on Thursday as well, we address some consumer issues. And so there are fraudsters always out there trying to separate you from your hard-earned money. And some of the things that they want to do is to scam you when it comes to employment. And I always have people overseas sending me requests about, Miss, is this legitimate? Or a lot of times they're asking me how to find jobs in the Cayman Islands. And I say to them, you have to have an employer who actually has work, because we know that a lot of people do not have work and they're just taking out work permits for people. Not only is that illegal, but it is very, very harmful to the entire island. And I think a lot of people don't think about the harm and the dangers of what it is that they're actually doing. So we'll talk about that again this morning. I know that we've talked about it before, and I guess we'll continue talking about it until people really get a clue and understand the harm that they're doing. It's the same thing with arranged marriages. Arranged marriages is not just a convenient thing for you to make a few dollars and a little bit of money. It is actually very, very harmful to the entire island. And it's sad that people don't see the harm. This week I've been thinking a lot about victims of violence and how, again, in this community, I see so much public discourse about this and people willing to just ignore victims and not sympathize with them in any way, shape, or form. I'm actually really, really saddened by this, because if I were a domestic violence victim or a victim of any sort of assault, I see that people are judging the victims. And I gotta just grabbing my tea, sorry. I gotta tell you that I'm disturbed when I hear people from the highest positions in the land, AKA politicians, straight down saying things like, well, what did that person do to her or him to deserve it? I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with us? You can truly be a victim and you've done nothing wrong. That's why you're called a victim. But this is a really, really interesting thing. And it's something that I've been very cognizant of. And I've been talking about it for years, quite frankly, normally in relation to sexual violence victims. But, there is this mentality that is so incredibly pervasive that somebody had to do something for you to deserve what you got. What did you do to them? And we have got to really start to address this issue. We need to start discussing, why is it that we feel that if someone is involved in an altercation, someone gets busted up, they get beaten up, whatever you want to call it, they're assaulted, which is against the law, you're looking for a reason why. Can you not accept that some people are just capable of that? I mean, take a look around. There are people committing common assault, aggravated assault, murders, all sorts of stuff every single day. And it does not mean that the victims of those things somehow deserved it, or they were involved in something nefarious and so it's their fault. Sometimes people are just victims, a lot of times. And they're just trying to live, their best lives, just trying to be normal people in relationships and whatever. And there are people around them who are unhinged, And if you're unhinged, Lord, you're capable of a lot. Some people get unhinged when they drink, they do drugs, or they're just angry. This week in particular, there's been a real heightened discussion about victims. And I am ashamed when I hear people sympathizing with perpetrators and having no consideration whatsoever for the victims. And they're making light of a situation and they're joking about a situation. And of course, it makes me reflect on the Yolanda Ford report, which we talked about on this program, when we talk about what is wrong with our children, why they have such a propensity to violence, and why they're not law abiding and they grow up to be lawbreakers. And once again, it is because they are growing up in homes where that's the norm. It's the norm to see someone get beaten up. It's a norm for siblings to be fighting like cats and dogs. And, love and respect for one another is not something that you engage in. I like to reflect on my own behavior and my own way of thinking in relation to these topics a lot of times. So I've never been in a violent or abusive relationship, thank the Lord, because I do not believe that I would be the traditional victim, although never say never, because some people have the strongest personalities and then they find themselves in years of psychological and emotional abuse that has dwindled them down where they sit back and they accept anything. And in fact, eventually they accept domestic abuse as well. So we had a few friends over last night. They're going to laugh when I tell this story. And I was saying to them, I said, when you're not, when you have a child that is growing up in an environment that is actually free from this dysfunctionality called violence and yelling and screaming and all that kind of behavior, children have a different sensitivity even to things that they see and they experience. And so a couple months back, my husband's going to kill me for telling y'all this story, but listen, it's funny. He likes to wear, not that he likes to wear, but he wears his undershirts. He wears undershirt every day. His little white Hanes tees or whatever they are, V-neck. So he wears his undershirts, and I always say to him, man, why do you wear undershirts that get holy? They got the Holy Ghost. So they have all these holes in them, and he's still wearing them when he's got like brand new ones in the drawer. So I'm just like, throw them out. He's like, no, they're still good to wear. The neck is starting to get all stretched out, whatever. And he's still wearing it. So we were all in the master room, which my daughter calls the COVID room, after her and her dad had COVID last year. And he was relegated to the COVID room. Since then, she's referred to it as the COVID room. So every night she's like, can I go in the COVID room? So one night we're all in there lying in the bed, like watching TV or whatever. And here comes Marlon with these Holy Ghost shirts again, all these holes in it. And they were looking like they were getting kind of big. So as a joke, I decided I was going to rip the shirt off of him. Right. So I put my finger in the little holes and I started ripping his shirt. I'm like, why are you wearing this Holy Ghost shirt? And I just started ripping it. Poor Gianna didn't understand the context of what was happening and the whole story. And she started crying. I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? She was so traumatized by what she thought was some sort of a fight or a violent incident, I guess, because I was ripping her dad's shirt. And she was like, leave my daddy alone. I was like, oh my God. Immediately I was like regretting it, right? And I'm like, no. Mommy's just joking. It's an inside joke between, 5-year-olds don't always get a joke. But I was like, no, this is a joke between mom and dad. And, and she was like, it took her a couple minutes to recover from this. And I felt so bad. And dad had to reassure her that I wasn't really doing anything to hurt him or the shirt got hurt, I guess. But it was like, I was like, oh, this shirt just needs to go in the garbage. It's got so many holes in it. I was going to throw it in the garbage anyway. So I decided to just put my fingers in it and rip it open. I felt like I was Hercules. I can rip open a cotton t-shirt that has like 2 holes in it or whatever. And so I was sharing this story last night with a few friends that came over to wish her about happy birthday. Thank you for the birthday gifts, by the way. And I said, afterwards I reflected on it. And it occurred to me that because My daughter is actually growing up in a home where she's not exposed to any fighting and yelling and screaming and that sort of thing, right? She just isn't used to that. And so when she saw something that she thought was in her little brain, some sort of like, this isn't normal, this is weird, this is something violent, she literally just burst out in tears. Like she just couldn't even emotionally handle what she was witnessing. And I said to myself, imagine children who grew up in total chaos, right? Because we don't have any yelling and screaming around our house. We have disagreements. Of course, everybody has disagreements. You know, we try to talk about it. And I don't try to have those conversations in front of my child. And I always tell my husband, sometimes, we're human beings and we get upset with each other. And you want to say something like, oh, your mom is always doing this. I'm like, don't do that in front of your child. That's a lesson for both parents. Don't say those things. Don't ever put down another parent, even as a joke, in front of your children. Because what we're exposing our children to is normalizing that sort of thing. We're normalizing violence and we're normalizing abuse. So they grew up as teenagers to get in abusive relationships. They grew up as adults to be involved in abusive relationships. And they don't even know. It's so normal to them that they do not even know that that actually is weird and it's not the norm and that's not how a lot of other people in the world live. It's total chaos. And I wonder if I could challenge all of you to really contemplate and reflect on the degree of chaos that is in your home. How chaotic is your home? How much yelling and screaming are you doing at the kids, the husband, the dog, everybody? Now, I got to admit that when I had Coco, she probably got the most yelling. Poor little thing. Because she was always into something, stealing the food, whatever. I'd be like, Coco! So much so that I'm not surprised that Gianna's, one of her first real words was Coco. She stood up on the window and she's like, Coco! And she said it so loud and clear. I was like, oh, child. She heard that name so much. She had to, that had to have been her real first word. Poor little Coco, my little sweet dumpling. But how much of it do you have in your life? Are you willing to admit? Because when I look at people who are entrenched in violence and that's how they react automatically to situation. When you're in a stressful situation, they talk about the fight versus flight. You're either going to run or you're going to stay and fight. And in certain situations, you're better off just extracting yourself from situations and just running as fast as you can. In other situations, you do have to defend yourself. Remember I told you all about Mike when I was in high school? I had been running from Mike for an entire semester. Leave me alone. Speaking to the teacher, move me from Mike. I don't want to be talking to him. I don't want to be dealing with him. He's a crazy guy. And then the day came when Mike, when Mike decided that he was going to teach me a lesson and get physical with me. And I was like, oh no, honey child, that's not going to work out too well for you. So that day I had to get physical with Mike in the name of self-defense. Yes. But that is not something that should be your daily life or should be the norm. And I tell people, I have not even had a fight as an adult. And I hope to God that I never do. Now, I got to be honest with you. If I found myself in a situation where someone knocks at my door and I open the door and they're trying to assault me or my daughter, while I'm calling the police and I'm calling 911, I would be inclined in that situation to defend myself. And I think victims who don't, and I want to really, really stress this, victims who don't and who maintain, just trying to hold somebody off, but not actually just punch that what out of them, have to really, really be admired, especially men and where it's a young lady involved, because a lot of us think women are not capable of being violent. Women can be very, very violent. And this is a lesson to all of us that men can be victims. And if we as a community sit back and question victims, well, what did you do? Right? Imagine how a man must feel who is being victimized by a woman in a relationship, who's being beat up by her and everything else. There's no way that he's going to feel comfortable even calling the police. Because most of our police officers, Caribbean men, they going to be like, you making this 1 pound and you and beat you up? You don't know how to smack her down or what? That's the response. Right? That men can't be victims. That maybe they're doing something to ask for it. No, people laugh at them. They question their masculinity. They don't take them seriously. We have got to try to move away from this discourse. Yes, the majority of violent incidents are male on female. That's why it's called gender-based violence. But we cannot ignore the fact that it goes both ways. And even if it's a small percentage, 5%, 10%, I don't know how small, of women who are engaging in violence against men, we need to have that discussion as well. Just a general discussion and a no, holds bar attitude, if you will, when it comes to violence in our communities. You expose your children to violence. Thank you, Dean. Dean says children are the best copycats, and that's absolutely right. You expose your children to violence, and that is what they're going to know and grow up with and normalize and see and expect in their own relationships. So I just want to really, really encourage people to reflect on what your opinions are when you hear of a situation in the news. And what is it that you're doing in your homes, right? Just reflecting on your behavior, perhaps. What are your children seeing on a daily basis? How many times for the day do you raise your voice and yell and scream at your children? And trust me, I'm sure when you got more than one, I always remind myself I've only got the one. So it's so much easier for me to maintain composure with one child as opposed to a whole bag and truckload of children. And that's why I never wanted a whole bag and truckload of children, because my nerves not designed for that kind of stress. Okay. I always thought 2 was ideal, honey chill. Don't give me no more than 2. You guys who've been listening to the program for a minute will know that sometimes I refer to this website called, they have what's called the Daily Ohm. And the Daily Ohm is like a positive message or reading for the day. So every single day they publish one. And Aum is supposed to be the sound of what they say is a sacred spiritual symbol in Indic religions, right? So I don't get too deep into the religious stuff of all these symbols and all that kind of stuff. I'm not really, the cross versus the whatever versus Buddha versus, listen, it's the message and what it is that you're reading that you can reflect on and that has a good lesson embedded in it. So there's one that I came across. They do them every single day. So you can check out dailyohm.com. And there's one that I came across that talked about creating true peace. And this is what it said. True peace is always possible, yet it requires strength and practice, particularly in times of great difficulty. To some, peace and nonviolence are synonymous with passivity and weakness. In truth, practicing peace and nonviolence is far from passive. To practice peace, to make peace alive in us, is to actively cultivate understanding, love, and compassion, even in the face of misconception and conflict. Practicing peace, especially in times of war, requires courage. All of us can practice nonviolence. We begin by recognizing that in the depths of our consciousness, we have the seeds of compassion and the seeds of violence. We become aware that our mind is like a garden that contains all kinds of seeds: seeds of understanding, seeds of forgiveness, seeds of mindfulness, and also seeds of ignorance, fear, and hatred. We realize that at any given moment, we can behave with either violence or compassion, depending on the strength of these seeds within us. When the seeds of anger, violence, and fear are watered in us several times a day, they will grow stronger. Then we're unable to be happy, unable to accept ourselves. We suffer and we make those around us suffer. Yet when we know how to cultivate the seeds of love, compassion, and understanding in us every day, those seeds will become stronger. And the seeds of violence and hatred will become weaker and weaker. We know that if we water the seeds of anger, violence, and fear in us, we will lose our peace and our stability. We will suffer and we will make those around us suffer. But if we cultivate the seeds of compassion, we nourish peace within us, and around us. With this understanding, we're already on the path of creating peace. So this concept of creating true peace through nonviolence, the Buddha movement is something that certainly teaches people how to do that from a practical perspective. We live in a world that is full of conflict and strife and division and war and chaos. And I always think that perhaps one of the places that you should find peace would be and should be in your own home. And I mean, talking about it at this level is fine, but the real question is, how do you do it? How do you go from commitment to it to actually action, putting it in action? And it does require, if you've lived that type of lifestyle, I believe it requires a degree of mindfulness where sometimes you have to stop yourself and reflect on what just transpired, how you just said something. Why are you raising your voice? Why are you yelling and screaming, throwing pots and whatever else happens in your household of chaos? I really hope that as a people, we can start to elevate ourselves a little bit more above and beyond accepting that, we're Caribbean people, so it's just part of who we are. We're just going to be violent just because we were descended from, violent people. This is what people want to tell themselves all the time. They find a way to excuse violence and chaos. Just because you grew up in violence or chaos doesn't mean that you have to adopt that in your life. In fact, of all people, you should know the reasons why not to. But because, as Dean said, children are copycats, and we as human beings do what we know. Breaking the cycle of violence and dysfunctionality and chaos is not an easy thing. But it has to be done. If we expect to, elevate ourselves as a people, it's something that we really need to try to focus more energy on and be a lot more conscious about. So every time you hear a violent incident and you joke about it and you try to downplay it, I'm going to encourage you to do something more than that. So Dean says, absolutely, Sandy. Nowadays, perpetrators are highlighted pretty much via social media and news as if they're celebrities, and victims are treated like perpetrators. Real deal, good morning. He's saying, what about the situation with the wanted murders, illegal landers, and aiding by the work permit holder? Hopefully we will sending all back in the same light. Time to clean up. Good morning, Kim. Yes, we're going to update the story. I think we spoke to you earlier this morning and we got some additional details. But Kim is the sister of the young lady who lost her life. Thank you so much. And I said earlier on 106 that they have set up a funding page to assist with repatriation of her body as well as funeral expenses. So go on the CMR website. You'll see the article there. She came at 15. I think at the time we didn't have the information that her father was actually here. So we'll update that. But she came here as a young lady and has lived here for the past about 6 years or so with her father. And so I'm encouraging all of you to, reach out to the GoFundMe. I think it's called a Go Get Funding page. And, see how you can assist. What an absolutely beautiful young lady. So, Kim, we expressed our condolences for your loss. Just a very, very tragic situation. Good morning to Miss Dorothy. DJ Trucking says sometimes a man doesn't want to hit back because it may end up with the woman knocked out or dead. Because as I asked a guy the same question, why didn't you fight back? And he said, it would not end well. Oh, absolutely. And DJ Trucking, I totally understand that, because from the perspective of physical strength, most men, and you can't use exclusive terms like all and whatever, but most men physically are probably stronger than a woman. It certainly depends. I've seen some women, like I said, they get in a rage, they'll take Hercules out. But yes, there are a lot of men who will just try to do the right thing and just call the police. And the narrative of the story always changes if the man hits back, because then it's he said versus she said. But if you show up and she has no injuries and the man has a busted lip, a busted head, scratched up face, like he's the one with all of the injuries, it becomes very, very obvious, who the perpetrator would have been. Because, yeah. So I think those are the primary reasons why a lot of men will not, even to their own detriment, they will not fight back. And I think that that's the right thing to do as much as you can. There comes a point in time, though, when I got to tell you, the self-defense, the fight or flight mechanism would be triggered. And so, if your life depended on it, man, you certainly don't want to just sit there and have a woman stab you to death. And we've had that happen too. Remember the case in Cayman Brac? That lady from Honduras stabbed a man to death, and everybody's like, well, how the hell did she manage that? Well, if a man isn't fighting back, it's entirely possible. Louis, happy Thursday. He says, I salute you all for your support. It really wasn't possible without you all. Thank you for making CMR number one. Thank you, Louis. And by the way, one of our graphic designers is actually working on a little something to go on social media, because we have now surpassed 70,000 followers on Facebook. So thank you. Yes, it's quite a milestone. Quite an amazing quite an amazing milestone indeed. Good morning to Maria. Miss Gina's here. Gris says if she was working, the insurance does not have repatriation of the cadaver. This was a question that somebody else asked this morning. And I thought that I know at one point immigration used to have something where you basically paid a repatriation fee as part of your work permits, and then they changed it where it's like a pool. So everybody pays a set fee, because sometimes you're paying just as much as an airplane ticket to be able to repatriate a body, and then immigration changed that. And you pay, I think it's just $200 maybe, a flat repatriation fee. And in circumstances where something happens, I think government is using that money also to repatriate, correct me if I'm wrong, government, the Cuban nationals, because that gets put in a pool. And then that must be millions of dollars that they use for things like repatriation of the Cuban migrants and stuff that come here, as well as quite exceptionally, if someone isn't able to send a body back. But I've heard of bodies staying in Cayman and remaining in Cayman a very long time because the families either overseas were not claiming it or they were not in a position. Because, listen, a lot of persons come to Cayman to work as the breadwinner for the family. So they're here working and to send money back to help their families. So when a tragic event happens, like someone dies unexpectedly, there is no way to get that body back. And it's not cheap, I assume, to send a body in a casket. So I think that I had heard something about insurance companies including it, but I'm not actually sure if they do. That's a very good question. Does anybody know? But at times it's not just about getting the body back, it's also the funeral expenses. And again, if the family back home doesn't have it, they'll start these GoFund pages for people to assist with those types of things. There are a lot of places in the world that have almost like a social services kind of burial thing. There's a very interesting story out of this in the US. I was just watching something a couple of weeks back about it. There's a funeral, what's it called? A gravesite where they actually put the unnamed or unwanted bodies. And a lot of times it's like prisoners and stuff like that who end up there, right? But recently they've started putting other people there as well. And so this whole video was about that. I forget the name of the, I'll look it up. I forget the name of the name of the cemetery. But there was a whole thing about, including other people in that cemetery now. A lot of prisoners go there because, once they die in prison, they've been there forever. Their families don't really want them back, which is so sad, right? Good morning to Dawn. Pauline is here. Louise says, I want a CMR flag to mark the occasion of followers. So I'm hoping that next month, we weren't able to pull it together in time for our anniversary, but I'm hoping that next month we'll be able to order some new merchandise. We've got a couple things on the list, some pens and mugs and other things. So once those come in, guys, I will certainly let you know so you can get yourself a little CMR merch. And yeah, all right. Very good. Pauline, yes, happy Thursday. So little Miss Gianna is off to the dentist today. So we're doing all these things like before school starts. So get yourselves organized. Remember I told y'all, this is the time to do it now. So speaking of getting organized, I told you yesterday that when I was away this weekend, I picked up a few things to help you guys on your journey to having a good school year and getting everything sorted out with the kids and being as organized as possible. So I'm not going to do the giveaways today because of the issue with the phone line, but hopefully by tomorrow we'll have that sorted out. We'll do some giveaways on Friday. Why not? And these are 18-month planners. They have a monthly and weekly format, monthly and daily goals, personal details, contacts, currencies, weights, and measures. Good little booklet here that you guys, I'm going to give some of these out. And I have them in nice bright colors. So I have like purple. I have an aqua kind of color, an aqua green. So there's this one. And then like a blue, like a, I don't know what color blue this is. This blue. Yeah. It's kind of a bluish, a little bit of green in there. So these planners are fantastic. I think, doodling and planners and writing your life down and, all that kind of stuff is really good. I got myself a little bit of a bigger one that has, I don't know if I'm going to keep this for myself yet. My husband says I just love planners. He's like, you just love a book to write in. This one is kind of cool. It says, do not forget section. I'm currently celebrating, loving, eating, drinking, watching, and you can put all that stuff. It's almost like a little journal, really. It has work goals, personal goals I'm excited about, I'm grateful for. So it has like a gratitude journal. This one's so cute. I think this is the one I'm going to keep for myself. I only got one of those. But these run from like July to December 2023. So you have all of next year covered as well. And for kids, they're also really good because, children can start to learn how to organize their lives. Like, what am I doing on Friday? And they can write it in their little journal book. So we have, I think, about maybe 6 of these that we'll give away to you guys, and you can help, use it to schedule your time with your kids or their school homework or whatever. So it has like the month view like this, and then it has the daily views like this, and then over on the side you can like put down like your goals and whatever as well. So we'll give some of these away. And you guys know we're starting our fitness journey here. So I got just a couple of these because I had to order these off of Amazon, and they were limited. So part of our fitness journey, which I want you guys to come on with me. So people have been asking, like, Sandy, this would be great if we can get a group together to like work out and whatever. We're planning all that. So I'm in talks right now with a fitness instructor. We need to get some numbers. And I want us to be able to commit. Remember the premiere set he's in? I think he's going to be traveling soon. So we got to, in terms of him and I, we don't live that far apart. So we are going to be exercise buddies. So we're going to encourage everybody to do the buddy system. At least find at least one other person that you can go walking with, you can exercise with, meditate with, do yoga with, whatever, to really keep each other accountable and inspired. So this one is called Life in Apples, and it's a wellness planner, daily motivational journal for healthy living. It follows your active life, balanced eating, and happiness. So you see on the back, it has all this stuff about milestones and all this sort of thing. Sorry, I had a little cough coming on. Oh, the coffee is killing me. Ugh. My goodness, I'm so sorry.
Crichton Properties is one of Cayman's most trusted real estate companies for over 50 years. We offer a diverse selection of property listings and help our clients navigate the world of buying or selling their properties with confidence. Crichton is a name you can trust with our excellent customer service and family-friendly touch. Contact us today to list your home, land, or condo for sale by calling 949-5250 or email info@crichtonproperties.com. Crichton Properties, a trusted Cereba member.
Oh gosh, had to take it out and play a break there because whew. Whew. Lord, this cough is killing me. Mm-hmm. Let me just take another quick break.
Are you tired of overpaying for TV services, can't figure out VPNs, and constantly missing your favorite TV shows? No access to the good stuff on streaming services? The frustration is real, but it doesn't have to be. Contact Roque, Cayman's streaming pros. We put you back in the driver's seat right in front of your TV. Call 926-1213 or message WhatsApp TV. Roque is not a TV service provider. Terms and conditions may apply.
Healthy Life app is now My HSA Cayman. Securely access your health information and COVID-19 vaccine QR code anytime, anywhere. You can get the My HSA Cayman app by following the easy steps. Step 1. Search My HSA Cayman in your app store. If you already have Healthy Life, open the app and you will be prompted to download the My HSA Cayman app. Step 2. Download the My HSA Cayman app. Once download is complete, search for Cayman Islands Health Services Authority. Step 3. Login. Enter your username and password. This is the same username and password used on the Healthy Life app or desktop portal account. Having trouble with your login? Reset your password. Click Forgot Password on the login page and follow the prompts. If you're still having difficulties, email portalinfo@hsa.ky or visit the portal FAQ page at www.hsa.ky. Sign up for My HSA Patient Portal online or on site at any of our registration counters.
Yes, I think we'll be okay now. Wow. Thank you, Dr. Sydney, for checking in on me. He's given me a prescription that hopefully I'm going to be vigilant about taking over the next couple of days to try to get rid of this situation. Sorry. Yes. What a mess. Okay, I think we're good. All right. Okay. Yes. Thank you guys very, very much. Finally getting some accent photos, so we'll show those to you guys here in a second. So so the planners are fantastic. The I think we have some more of the wellness planners coming, but some of them have arrived thus far. So it's going to allow you to do everything from tracking weight loss, diet and health goals, and your food journal as well, daily gratitude journal, meal planner for healthy living, and healthcare. So, and then you get with the Life and Apple Wellness Planner, there are actually a number of bonus ebooks and printables. So I will, those of you who get those, you'll see what those are all about. So let me show you some of the screenshots and stuff, kind of what we are looking at. You know, keeping a gratitude journal is really, really important. So many times in life, we moan and complain about everything. We're all guilty of this. And so remembering what we are grateful for and what we should be grateful for, I should say, is really, really important. Listen, no matter where you are in your life, in your mind, you're thinking, oh, it's the worst life ever. There's always somebody who has it worse than you. Truthfully, there's always someone who's going through more than you, who, you know, has more financial problems than you do, and the works, right? So these are some of the ebooks. So you've got like the meal planner, healthy breakfast recipes. I'm looking forward to some of these. Healthy dinner recipes, even like a Christmas budget planning, regular exercise, mind mapping, getting organized. So those are some of the ebooks that will come with those. And this is your daily. You've got a meal planner and food journal, which is excellent. What did you do for breakfast, lunch, snacks, and everything? Gratitude and affirmations. So section every day where you say, what am I grateful for? Positive thoughts. I'm strong. I exercise. I nourish my body. What did you do for your active day? Are you going to Pilates? Are you, taking a little brisk walk? Are you doing even a 2-minute crunch or something, right? So self-care trackers, making sure you're getting a little bit of sun in your day, you're drinking some water, love in your heart, getting sleep, which we know how important sleep is. And then we have the weekly tracker. So what sort of progress you're making. Habit tracker. And then your diet and fitness tracker. So we have only a handful of those, but we do have more of them that are coming. All right. So that is where we're at with some of the things that we've got going on the inside. So good morning to Lilac. Lilac says, besides Facebook, where else can you watch this live from? So we're on Facebook and YouTube. So a lot of people don't have a Facebook account. Because we're a public page, even if you don't have a Facebook account, you can see stuff. You just wouldn't be able to comment. And it's the same thing with YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube account, you can only comment. I'm sorry, you can only watch and not comment. Yes? Thanks for the question, Lilac, because a lot of people might not know. So we are essentially what they call simulcasting, where you're able to watch it in 2 different locations at the same time. So every morning, YouTube, Facebook, and of course now Bobo 89.1 as well for people who don't have social media at all. We can do Instagram, but Instagram's a little bit trickier because unlike Facebook and YouTube, you have to do Instagram from a mobile device. And it's harder to see the comments. And we also found that because our Instagram listenership and followers, I think we're at over 24,000 people on Instagram, because they are, some of them, a little bit less mature. The conversation there tends to take a whole other angle. So we don't really go live that often on IG. It's something we should do more of, but for the daily show, it's Facebook and YouTube for now. Debbie says, good morning, Sandy. Yes, I have you locked every morning on my drive to work. The sausage rolls and customer service are amazing at Waffle Monkeys. Big shout out to Waffle Monkeys. Mm-hmm. Dean gets saying a little brown sugar is good for the soothing of the throat. Yes, child. I'm doing all kind of stuff, but I think I got to get to the source of it. And Dr. Sydney was listening to me yesterday with my raspy voice, and he's like, Sandy, call me. So he's prescribed something. I'll let you guys know in a couple of days. I can already kind of feel it working. I feel like that's why I might be coughing a little bit more. Hey, Remy, you're in Goa, India? What? Nice. Wow. Vacay time. How long are you there for? When you have to travel that long, normally you just take the whole month off, child. Sadika, good morning to you. Good morning to James. I haven't seen James here in a minute, joining us from Canada. Morning, Miss Debbie. So on yesterday's program, we were talking with Jeremy Bodden, who owns a company called Robson Construction. And we've had a lot of his staff complaining about not getting paid. So Jeremy, his position was, you can't believe everything you hear. Hmm. Well, we know that's true, without a doubt. That's for sure. But I can tell you that in this case, Jeremy, I believe your numerous workers, and I do not believe you. Mhm. Even as we were having the show, people were messaging me, he's a liar. My brother's son, my nephew, worked for him, and it was the same thing. Wasn't getting paid way back then. This isn't something new. So, for whatever reason, this construction company is having some issues. Really, uh, paying their staff and getting it together in terms of employment, pension, insurance, whatever. The only person that was defending poor Jeremy was his girlfriend. Sometimes I tell significant others, don't get in the comment section. Spouses, boyfriend, girlfriends, just leave it alone. Now, just because you're with someone between the sheets doesn't mean that you know everything that's going on with them in their business. How many times we don't hear of wives and spouses and others who thought that they knew everything that was going on with their spouses. Oh, I don't think this person heard what I said about the calls, but let's try it. I don't think we're going to be able to hear them now. Good morning, caller. Yeah, I can't. Okay, give me 1 second because for some reason I can hear you but barely. So let me just put you on speakerphone so that everybody else can just hear you through my mic until we get this sorted out. Morning, love. How are you?
Hello, you can hear me now?
Yeah, we're going to just put you on speakerphone until we fix this issue later today. What is on your mind?
Excellent. I just heard you talking about the workers, people that are working and not getting paid.
Yes.
Sunday, it is a monster in our society. It is.
Mm-hmm.
You have people working for a month.
Mm-hmm.
You have people working for 6 weeks, and most of them are construction workers.
Mm-hmm.
And it is ridiculous. How can people treat other people that way when they know people have their bills to pay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They know people have to eat. Come on, man. We have to treat, no matter what happens, if you employ the people, you have to treat them like how you would want people to treat you there.
Yes.
And you, how in the world you expect to work a person? Sandra, that sun out there isn't nice.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you both know
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
You got some people that work on the roof. How they do it, only God knows. Because
Yes.
I don't think I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember having a friend one time that went out to try and work on the roof. And Sandra, he got so many burns. There were them big old blubbers on his back. These people go out, they work, and these people do not want to pay them. It is ridiculous. So some of the people say, Miss Amira, I prefer to go home because this doesn't make sense.
Yes.
I have a helper, Sandra. My helper been with me 24 years. 24 years she's been with me. She come in like, my mother passed on. My father was murdered, and I don't have either one. But I can tell anyone I have her. She have my back. And trust me, I have hers. So I just wanted to share out there that when you have someone that care about you, employees or not, you must care about them. When you treat your employees good, let me tell you, they will give you 125. When you treat your employees good.
Yeah.
I am blessed. I am blessed. I've worked for Philips Electrical going in 34 years. and I have been blessed by that company. Everything I have in life, I worked hard for it, and I got it, I can say, from Philips Electrical. My two bosses treat me like the daughter they never had. So I am a blessed Caymanian, and I can say that much. I might not have a whole lot, but I will still say I am blessed because I have good bosses and I have the Lord Jesus Christ in my life. So I am blessed on the whole. Thanks, Sandra, for letting me
absolutely
that this morning. And quickly, Sandra, before I go, remember that the girls and boys camp is coming up.
Okay.
The 15th, starting on Monday the 15th of August. And you know, it's for ages 9 through 17. They can go. They everything is free.
Where is the camp?
It's at the Georgetown Primary School, the FC International.
Oh, nice.
Football Club.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah, it's FC International, and everything is free for them. On the last day of the camp, they will receive free T-shirt, a free T-shirt, and they have to go early on the first day, which is the 15th. They have to go early so they can register. So all participants must register. They get there early. The camp is absolutely free. So parents can, have no excuse not to get their kids out there to drop them off. The camp is from, it's from, 8 till 1, I think it is. 9 till 1 p.m. So they can get their children out there, ages 4 to 17, and they have a lot of people there to take care of them, and this goes on for a week. So thanks a million.
Okay, my dear. Thank you, too.
And the rest of the listeners have a wonderful and blessed day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much for that caller. So the audio isn't optimal yet, but I just put her on speakerphone so you guys could hear her through my mic. So I need to do some tweaking, I think, today with the board and stuff like that, but we'll get it sorted out. So yes, I mean, this is a very, very unfortunate situation that anybody's working in this country not getting paid, because folks, why do you think foreign workers come here? They come here to work and make money. And if you're an employer, not just foreign workers, anybody, you get up and work and you give of your time, you go to your employer's workplace, you're expecting to get paid. Most people are not working for free, because then it'd be called volunteering. And you would know up front that was the arrangement. So I was a little bit disappointed hearing Jeremy trying to provide excuses and saying, oh, not everything you hear is true. Jeremy, when half your workforce messaging me, people that don't really know me and I don't know them, but they want to just get their pay. When they're messaging me, they are desperate, especially given that they're pretty much all foreign workers. And they're afraid now that you're going to be trying to find out who been messaging me and cancel work permits and all that kind of stuff. It's unfortunate. And I think the Labor Department needs to do more by going on some of these job sites and doing spot checks, because it is a pandemic of non-payment, especially, as that caller rightfully said, in the construction industry. I hear it all the time. These people be making big, they go on these job sites, they bid, and they get these multi-million-dollar, $100,000 contracts, whatever. Now, I can't speak to their financials and exactly why they're not paying people and what's going on. Maybe they underbid on it just to be able to get the job, and now finding it hard to complete the job within budget and actually pay those guys, but that's not their concern. If you don't know how to cost out a project, the then I suggest you come out of the business. Construction isn't easy in more ways than one. Running a construction business requires the ability to know about project management, which includes costing out a job, staying within budget, pricing materials, pricing labor, so on and so forth. Like he said yesterday, oh, there was a delay, there were some changes. All of these things should be foreseeable and projected and accounted for in your plans. What major construction project is not going to have delays? I can just tell you from a project management perspective, and I have no experience in construction. Y'all heard me yesterday saying, what? People need to show with their own tools? I don't know anything about the construction industry, but I know a little bit about project management. And any project that you undertake, there's certain aspects of the project that would be foreseeable. And you factor in supply chain situation right now, supply chain issues is happening. So if you've not already secured all the supplies for a particular job and you're relying on a third party to get you those supplies, or you're relying on bringing them in from overseas, you have to understand that that means that, yes, you may have delays. I mean, when I went there, all I see is government planting a whole bunch of trees and digging up the street. I don't know what the digging up of the street will eventually be. Looks like they're putting in some plumbing and piping, and I guess we might have a waterfall and, a couple benches and whatever. It's going to be interesting to see what the final project looks like. But you cannot not pay these guys and expect them to show up and continue working for you and do it to the best of their ability. One of these days, one of these construction guys is going to have enough, and they're going to sabotage one of your projects that's going to cost people's lives, because y'all are playing with people's livelihoods, and you need to stop it. People getting evicted from their homes, wherever it is that they're renting, they can't pay rent. And he acknowledged that to some extent, saying, oh, there was just one or two and we assisted. There shouldn't be any, because they're getting evicted because of you and non-payment. I honestly do not know how y'all manage to sleep at night, knowing that you have people employed for you and you're not paying them. So when the girlfriend jumps in the comment section about, oh, she has her own money, child, please go sit down, because we don't really want to address you. You understand what I'm saying? You come here with your own money. Tell me what you were doing when you came to Cayman. Because I'm willing to bet it was one or two things: working as a barmaid, and that's a nice way of saying it, or working as a domestic. And somehow you jumped on Jeremy, or he jumped on you. I don't know which way it went, and I don't really care. And now you can brag about having your own money. Your own money from where? You're a business owner too, honey child. Just sit down and have nothing to say. This is about the man's business. And he tried to defend himself. Nobody was believing him, I can tell you that much. Every single comment, there's not a single person who's like, oh yeah, There was one person who called me after the show, and I'm going to tell you what they had to say here in a second. But y'all need to do better. It's horrible when these workers are calling saying 7 weeks, 8 weeks, they're not getting paid. And you're trying to defend your behavior, talking foolishness about how, that's not true. And they might have gotten a full pay, and some people now working, they work 2 hours here. And really, if they submit their pay slips, they should know what it is that they have coming to them. And if they're going 4, 6, 7, 8 weeks without pay, I don't really care to hear your excuses about changing up the pay from 2 weeks to monthly. This is all baloney, if you ask me. When somebody signs a contract with you, and I hope your workers got contracts or terms of and conditions of employment, because that is required by the law. You see, now this is where I hope DLP is listening, because they need to get out there and do what they got to do. Make sure that every one of these workers have terms and conditions. And if their terms and conditions said they were supposed to be getting paid bi-monthly, you can't just jump up and change that to monthly on a whim because you feel like it. Y'all need to learn a thing or two about employment contract law too. You cannot do that because your workers rely on the ability to be able to pay their bills on a specific schedule. So if they knew that they were getting paid every 2 weeks and they budgeted around that, they've told their landlord, right, I get paid on this date, so I'll make sure you have your money by such and such a date. CUC, make sure CUC got their money. Okay. Everybody can see you and your girlfriend living your best life. You guys going to the beach, having a great time. You're able to take vacations. Your mortgage is getting paid. You're not being evicted. So don't come on this platform with your cockamamie stories about, oh, these guys are lying and you had to fire one for going to court for drugs and this and that. It's not one person complaining to me. It's a lot of people. And it's a lot of people who no longer work for you. And it's a lot of people and their family members who talk about, oh, this is not something new, Sandy. This is going on for years. And it's more egregious that you have obtained a government contract to do the revitalization of Georgetown. I should say revitalization of one street, which is a major construction project. And those guys are out there, as the caller rightfully said, in the hot sun all day, doing the most. And you talking about, oh, they only work 2 hours. Well, every time I pass by there, I see a lot of work going on. So I don't know who only working 2 hours. But get it together. And if you're not able to do these jobs and pay staff, stop taking the work. This is the problem that I have. Don't bid on it. Don't take it. How about that? Let somebody else who can properly manage their affairs do so. Y'all be doing the most, flossing in your boats and taking vacations and posting it all on social media, honey child. And then you're not paying your staff. Oh, Jesus. Really? What a disgrace. Get it together. He invited me to come by and look at his books. That's not my job. And I don't have any interest in getting into your affairs like that, but I would encourage DLP to come and have a look. Right? They're the ones need to check and see about your pension. Insurance. What else are you falling down and not paying? Some of these poor workers, right? They get injured on the job. Something happens to them on the job. And they stop getting paid. There's no liability insurance. There's nothing in place for them. And it's really egregious because then it falls on social services to try and resolve these issues and get the job done. And it's not fair. You cannot import workers or even local workers in this country, have them working at a job site for you and then refusing to pay them. You keep it up and you hear why I'm talking about violence. These are the types of things that make people go crazy. Somebody can take a hammer and decide to take down one of those beautiful trees that your government trying to put back in the middle of town. Get it together. Good morning to Miss Brenda. Yulette says, some of the workers that built my house addition have showed up at my house asking if I can give them work because the contractor hasn't paid them, and how the contractor lost contracts for big projects. And this has happened more than once or twice. I feel bad for construction workers. These companies take advantage of them. This is an industry that needs to be better regulated by somebody, especially when it comes to the employment side of things. Let me see now who this is ringing. They found the wrong phone. I don't know if they meant to call me. So that needs to happen. Yes. Everton says, I guarantee he would not do this to his countryman. Oh, they'll try Caymanians too, child. That's why they don't want to hire Caymanians, because Caymanians not going to tolerate it too much. They only do it to people who have permits. He's a disgrace. Yes, it's a disgrace to do it to anybody. And in my mind, is it more of a disgrace to do it to Caymanian versus an expat worker? I don't even know if it matters. But to bring someone from overseas and put them in a position where they're in your country, having to fend for themselves is a really, really bad situation to put people in. And this is why some people are going out there involving themselves in criminal activity when they shouldn't be. Miss Brenda says, Sandra, behave. Child, behavior is paying your workers. One person says, don't forget his statement that he makes 3 to 4 million a year. Someone says, isn't Colin Lumsden doing the project in town? Well, he's the project coordinator for government. But he's not physically out there doing the project. And he doesn't own a construction company that's doing the project. So they contract it out to people who that's supposed to be their specialty. So someone said to me that apparently something he said on the show about suing other people and whatever, that there is a company, and I'm digging into this, because if this is part of the problem where companies, hotels, and so forth engage in contracts with some of these construction companies and then don't pay them, that's also an untenable situation and should not be allowed and should not be permitted. And of course, now this is a question of how you manage your affairs. And this is all contract law and what your remedies are for non-payment. And your only remedy is to take somebody to court. But I think somebody was sort of explaining to me how it works. They said, because I said, hey, if I hire a guy to come and do something at my home, he's not going to lick one nail until you give them like 50% for major projects, 50% down. But this person who was working in the construction industry said to me, when they're working with these big companies, they don't even do that. You can imagine asking the little man like me and you for 50% down. But the big companies, the big hotels or whatever, they don't do it that way. And I'm sure there's a logical reason in industry probably why they don't, because then these companies don't even complete the work and whatever. So they're nickel and diming me and you to pay up front and pay as much as we can. But the hotels and the other projects, condos and whatever else, they do it like, okay, you finish the foundation, then you bill us for that. So you have to go in there having the finances to do the project and pay your guys up to a certain point. But if you're in the construction industry, don't you know this already? I don't know it because I'm not in the industry. But the problem that I'm understanding is some of these companies don't end up paying. And then you have a situation where hundreds of thousands of dollars are unpaid. And listen, I have no reason to not believe that this has probably happened to Jeremy. In fact, this person was telling me that they got into cahoots with somebody in some, what was it again? Some business or whatever. Some expat guy who's still here, and he got all the money and ended up having them holding the bill for not getting their portion of whatever it was that they were working on together. I can't remember exactly what he said, Joe. Half the time people call me and it goes in one ear and out the other. I'm surprised I remember anything. And I get so many phone calls for the day. I'm like, geez, somebody calls me, Miss Sandy. Remember when I told you? I said, no, honey child, I don't remember. Just tell me again. What is it about? What's the story? What's the scoop? So has he got burnt on a few projects? Oh, I'm sure. But that doesn't mean that you turn around and not pay your workers, that you turn around and burn them. And if you can't, if you don't know how to do it and you can't figure it out, then you come out of the business. If you continually getting burnt by people, right? Maybe that's just not the business for you. So he has sent to us yesterday a formal demand letter for this Palm Sunrise Limited, where they owe them $175, round up is $174, $538.86, in unpaid or part paid invoices. So here he is chasing people for money. He should know what it is to not have people pay you. Now, these Palm Sunrise Limited, this particular company, so now he's had to engage lawyers and stuff at HSM. To send correspondence to try and collect his $175,000 plus legal fees and interest. And I understand this Palm Sunrise Limited that we need to do some digging on them. So they're not going to go without getting dug up as well. Because guess who these people are? Palm, what's the place where during COVID, all y'all was going there flossing and pretending like you're rich when you got your pension money? Palm Heights or whatever it's called, Tilly's. It's those people. And my sources tell me that they owe a lot of people money, that they have construction companies come in, guys who do stone wall work and all kind of stuff, do one pile of work for them, even painting of containers. One little guy had to go there and paint the container, $15,000 or whatever, and they have not paid him. So I don't know. This is the demand letter that Jeremy shared. I believe this part of the story. Sure. Palm Heights owe him money. Yes. Palm Springs Limited or Palm Sunrise, whatever the hell they call themselves. You better find the sunrise and start paying people. So this is egregious. Nobody should be going around having companies, and there's some guys now who won't even do any work for these Palm, whoever they are, because they are taking advantage of people. One person said it took him years, in excess of a year, to collect his money. And he's like, I refuse to do any more work for them because you lose money this way. See the demand letter here, formal demand, payment required within 7 days. It's funny that this was just dated August the 8th, but whatever. So chase your money, but this should make you know how it feels when people are not paying, when you, on the other hand, are not paying people either. And you can't not pay people because somebody else owes you money. The two can't be connected in that way. And that's a totally different project. Now you got a government project. You better do right by people because, like I said, government needs to stop shaping up the situation as well. Palm Sunrise has a reputation, I understand, in the construction industry for not paying people. and it's not good. And I'm hearing people who supposed rich people living down in Crystal Harbor and all these beautiful developments, and they claim they got money. They'll have you come and do work, and you go and you see this nice, beautiful house, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get paid. Then they're the ones who are doing the most not to pay you. How can you justify such behavior? That's horrible. But I tell y'all, don't be fooled just because somebody look like they got money, or even if they haven't, they live in a big house. Sometimes they're the cheapest people in the world, and they don't know the value of your labor. And you got to be very, very careful with people like that. Believe me, just because you live in a big house and drive a fancy car don't mean nothing to me, except that you live in a big house and drive a fancy car. Quite ridiculous, if you ask me. Katsina says it's happening in the farms too, but the sun too hot for enforcement. They love AC. Well, enforcement better get out there. Flashpoint says something is missing here. Most construction companies have a negotiated line of credit with a bank to deal with payment delays and similar issues. Well, this is the problem. The person who was giving me the inside scoop yesterday said, Sandy, they do go into overdraft, right? Which is something that then they have to pay interest on. And it's like a snowball effect. Without a doubt, if you have a single client, and I don't know who else owes Jeremy money, that owes you $175, that is hurting your business. And Palm Sunrise, right? They rent Dart owns the property, but these are the people who are managing it. Tilly's, and now I hear they're expanding across the street or something. Imagine y'all are going there patronizing them for brunch and all this kind of stuff. And these are the kind of people who don't pay their bills. So the same way I'm going to go hard on Jeremy, I'm also questioning what companies like this is doing. So Everton says the government should draw all of his contract, terminate all of his contract. I mean, at some point, the people who are giving you the work, they need to start scrutinizing who they're giving these contracts to, who they're subcontracting stuff out to. Big shout out to Paul Pearson from, what's the group that Paul is with again? Oh, Lord, I forget. But they've done like Vela and all these big developments and stuff. Quite a few in South Sound. I think there's one in Grand Harbor that they recently did. And, you know, he said on this show that they're not going to support people who are not going to pay their workers and not going to treat their workers right. And if they hear anything about it and it comes back to them, they're going to start canceling some of these contracts and finding companies who have a moral component to how they do business, or at least at the very, not even moral, at the very least, they follow the law. How about that? Katsina says this is why they hire illegal immigrants who work there and don't pay them and then call legal people lazy. Well, we know that that's happening too. People coming in from Cuba, for example, they're being trucked around and doing all kind of work, and you can probably pay them a fraction of the cost, right? Because the government paying all their bills anyway. The government be paying everything for them. I had someone over the weekend messaging me about that. They were like, you know, they're pissed off that government is paying. They say about them escaping detention. They say, imagine they're getting free living. Police arrested 2 the other day, apparently for some offense. And because they're in detention, or supposed to be, they release them because they don't know what to do with them. Meanwhile, Caymanians have nowhere to live. This is what somebody sent me. And they're getting paid. We're paying their insurance. Not insurance. We're paying all their expenses, including They get little phone calls and all sorts of stuff. Illegal workers hurt everybody. And any company engaging in that should be held accountable in a really big way. We have got to start pulling some licenses, hefty fines, something. The whole pension insurance thing is such a scam that by the time the government finally gets around to doing something, normally it's years in arrears. And the chances of people really recovering anything is like slim to none. Then they put them on a payment plan and it's going to take them 30 years to pay it off. We saw that happen with a young lady, and poor her. May she rest in peace. She died within a year of the judgment. So now those people don't get nothing. They will never recover that money. Everton says, I don't think he's worried about his reputation, because if he would have taken care of his workers, they would make the money in some time. I think that these people have family back home to take care of. Everton says, I listened to the program yesterday and you weren't playing around with him. You were giving him some hardball questions and he was just trying to get out of the way. You were torturing him. Well, you can torture people with the truth. Lord, you did good to show people that you care about people, and people should stop blaming you when you say the truth. Well, y'all know already that I'm not really bothered with what people have to say, because thank the Lord that they're not really the ones paying my bills. They be out there saying the most. Oh, Sandy, this, that, and next thing. I'd be like, okay, you'll be all right. And the funny thing is, Everton, when something happens to them, who you think the first person they gonna call is? They're not even bothering to call their MPs anymore. Here they come running to me, and my friends be like, Sandy, why are you helping this person? Last year, this was the same person who was lambasting you on social media. I say, you know what, honey, child, just leave them right there. They'll be okay. They'll be all right. Because everybody is okay with wrongdoing until it's your turn to be on the receiving end. Huh? Then, all of a sudden, somebody beating you up, somebody stealing from you, somebody not paying you. Then it's a situation where you're like, oh yeah, we need rights. We need this. We need that. But when it's happening to somebody else, it's okay. Flashpoint says abusive workers is the foundation of the Cayman Islands. Politicians keep talking about changes to legislation to protect workers, but nothing is ever done. And the fact that you say it's the foundation of the Cayman Islands is disgraceful. Yes, Palm Heights. Don't worry. I'm on it. I've got people in high places, child, getting me the scoop on Palm Heights. Because honestly, this is a very egregious situation. But I'm told that they are not the only ones. So if you're in the construction business, you got to know how to handle your business. If these people want you to do their work, they had better start paying you, and you have to have someone who's in charge of accounts who knows what they're doing and who can really put their foot down. If someone says that Palm Heights is owned by a member of the Dart family, I don't know who it's owned by, so I can't say yay or nay, but I'm certainly going to do my best to find out, because they have a reputation of, apparently not paying construction companies. Someone else says Colin Lumsden is another joke. Well, I don't know if Colin's a joke or not, but he is the project manager from the government perspective. So I guess his only concern is to ensure that it gets done. But I think government needs to do a bit more than that. When people are working on government projects and government sites, you need to involve yourself. You need to be out there talking to the workers. Everything okay? Everything on schedule? Y'all getting paid? Because if government is issuing payments and checks and stuff, how can government then support workers who are on a job site not getting paid, which is in contravention of the same laws the government have put in place? Flashpoint asks a good question. Do construction companies carry insurance to protect themselves against financial losses from failed projects and non-payment? I do not know, but from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, probably not. A lot of these construction guys, I always find it to be quite peculiar, but they seem to know how to do whatever it is. Like, say you're a mason worker, right? And you go open up a business doing mason work. You know how to do your mason work, but you don't know how to do anything else. So you don't know anything about managing the books. You don't even know how to put together a proper quote. And that's why you have to rely on people. I mean, if you want to be in business, oftentimes you have to rely on other people to provide those services for you. And like he said yesterday, oh, it's expensive, they can't afford it. Well, you're either going to be in business or you're not going to be in business. It's not Mickey Mouse hour. If you're going to be in business and you're taking things seriously, as you should, you need to have your immigration paperwork done properly. You need to have pension and health insurance paid and paid on time. You need to be giving your guys their work slip. You can send electronic copies. Somebody doing payroll. That's all the stuff when it comes to doing business when you hire staff. That's why some of you shouldn't be in business, number one. And number two, if you're in business, maybe you just do what you can do and don't hire nobody else. It's frustrating. And then you'd be giving the poor consumers all kind of shoddy work. You're not, keeping track of the guys, making sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. The entire industry needs a little bit of overhaul, I would say. Good morning, William. He says, preach it. Carmelie says they have people and staff working for them at the restaurant and not paying them too. They've been working without work permits as well. Oh, so this is at Palm Heights. During COVID, I was hearing quite a few complaints about them, But again, a lot of work permit holders be afraid. Elray says, boy, I hear and see defamation lawsuits on the horizon coming soon. Oh, honey child, not when you're speaking the truth. I just showed you the evidence of one unpaid invoice. The little container guy, we can call him on the show if they want us to. How about just pay your bills? Take it over a year. You and I wouldn't get the luxury of being able to build something and not pay the contractor for over a year. Lawsuit the truth. Because you can't bring a defamation lawsuit against the truth. Darlene says, Sandy, people come to Cayman and do the most just because they heard or know that there's very little rules and laws to protect locals. And this is why it's really, really important that the labor board, the Department of Labor and Pensions, has sufficient staff and they're able to do their jobs. And the ironic thing about DLP is sometimes I see them going after the smallest little infractions from little Caymanian businesses for the smallest of things, and they want to put a big hammer on top of them. And then these other organizations and companies that are bigger, medium-sized to large, they ain't doing nothing to them. Rory says, from what I understand, Labor Board and Tribunal has not proved helpful to various people looking to resolve outstanding wage issues on island. I'm not surprised by that. Morning, Olive. Olive says that Germany is just a tip of the construction companies that work people and don't pay them. There's a lot of big construction companies that don't pay their workers. And you'd be surprised to know, and it's a practice that always happens in the janitorial business as well. Here you know. This person says, Sandy, it's wicked world wicked work world out there, and a lot of people are afraid to talk because they threaten them with the permit. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra. I'm glad to hear that you got your voice back. How are you feeling?
Oh, it's coming back. Not 100% yet, but we're getting there. Thank you so much.
Did you take honey and lime and all that nice stuff?
Yes, ma'am. I've been doing a little bit of everything, but I want to thank Dr. Sydney for giving me a little prescription last night that I think is starting to work. So,
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And I seen where he had a birthday. He must be a little bit older than 16 now, right?
I would think so. So his birthday, happy birthday to Dr. Sydney. His birthday is the 8th of August. It kind of slipped me this year until the 9th when I was celebrating Gianna's birthday. I said, hold on a second. I missed Sydney's birthday. He's so low key though, you know. He doesn't make a fuss.
And we all should be proud of him. He's a Caymanian, and we should be more than proud of him. And he's a Leo.
Oh, we're the best already.
Yeah, because I'm a Leo too. I'm the 1st of August.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
This is Shirlene Schmidt or Rhonda Schmidt.
Yes.
Some people may think that I heard somebody made a remark that I'm negative. I just want to. I like to speak the truth and what I know. I was taught that way from a child, and what I know.
Yes.
Now, a big racket that is going on in this island, and it don't seem like a lot of people want to speak about it. But is this sending of the Jamaican people? It's mostly the domestic laborers here from Jamaica, and some of them are down to earth, nice. Some of them, you got good and bad everywhere, because we have some bad Caymanians that I wish that I could put in a boat and send somewhere.
Yes.
But everywhere that is sending the hard-earned money in goods back to their families in these drums and containers. Now, I have a helper for my mental cousin, and she sent some things from December. By March, she was still asking if her people got them. She was still asking and asking and asking. This month, I think, she was told that the things were not delivered because they were sold off, and she must give him an estimate of what these things cost. Now, this is about the third story I've heard of the same thing done again. Now, I don't know if she did an estimate or did a list to get her estimate done, because she cries about it, because it was hundreds and hundreds of dollars, hard-earned money. When is someone gonna gather that up and not all of them, like I said, not all of them that doing it does that sort of thing, but some are really ripping their own people off badly, really badly. Now, why would you send something to your people, wherever they may be, if they didn't need it? Why are you working so hard to send something back if they didn't need it, and yet they be treated like that by their own people? I'm sorry to say like that, because it sounds like I'm just picking on them. No. We got some good and bad everywhere. Some bad Caymanians, some bad every nationality in the world. Yes. Then another thing with laborers, some people hire people, and they hire people to take care of their elderly, and they themselves don't pay them. They're paid by Cynical. And those people do not get days off. Now, you yourself at work or employed anywhere, you get days off. Sometimes it's 2 per week. Those people work for months and don't get days off. And then they got to turn around. Mostly, again, it is Jamaicans. They have, the employee has to turn around and find somebody to work in their place so they can get a few hours off. Now, you tell me if that's not the height of...
And you know what is even worse?
It's wrong. It is wrong. It is so wrong.
Yes.
Because if that person don't get a break from that elderly person or
Oh my gosh.
whoever, nannies
Exactly.
or whoever, they'll break down too. Then you have a sick person on your hands. What you gonna do?
Yep.
Pack them off.
And get another one. That's what they be doing, child. Abusing people.
Or otherwise, put a big thing in the paper or on Facebook mostly that we're doing a fundraiser because he or she is sick.
When they're the cause of killing off the poor people.
And I heard you say a while ago, the labor office, I should say, need to do more about circumstances like this. They really need to do more because who's getting the bad name for it? Grand K man.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. They just don't realize that. And the churches could also help out with counseling these people and stuff. God knows we don't need any more churches, but there's churches in every little corner. Why can't they help out?
Oh God, child, they only concerned about one or two little things, and it's not normally about helping people. But anyway, we leave them alone this morning. They're looking for tithes.
Are concerned about Sundays and collecting those tithes and the offering. But I'm going to leave you there because
thank you, caller.
We could go on and on. I wish you all the best. I'm going to try my honey and lime this morning too. I personally think it's the Sahara Desert dust that the
I'm sure that doesn't help.
Getting yellow from.
Yeah, it probably doesn't help if you're having sinus issues anyway. But yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, caller.
Okay,
Always
good
appreciate
morning,
it.
And thank you again.
Thank you too.
Again. Good morning.
Okay, dear. Thank you. So, folks, although the phone isn't working ideally yet, we're still taking calls. A little hodgepodge, but we got it. Putting him on speakerphone. So, thanks to that caller, some interesting points there, because the whole cynical thing with domestic people who are hired to take care of someone and cynical is actually paying for it. I hear that's a whole other big scam. You know, the employer, Caymanians. I don't know if they pay for Caymanians or not, and it does not matter. Still Caymanians getting the benefit of Cynico. And Cynico say Cynico says, all right, you need 2 people for around the care help for an elderly person, whatever. Because one person, as Ms. Shirley said, can't do it all, right? And you got to give people a break when they're working for you. And so they're paying them whatever. And, you know, the employers are skimming off of the top of that, taking some of that money for themselves, and then paying the workers less than what Cynico has agreed. This is what we're going to give you for the salary. That's the purpose of that money. And this is where Cynico and NAU, y'all be cussing them, but they're trying to fight off thieves who are taking advantage of the system every single day. That is something I've heard happening all the time. So say as an example, Cynical says, okay, $2,000 a month for this live-in helper or whatever, right? They're going to give them $1,000 or $1,200 and keep the balance for themselves. It's happening a lot. And Cynical needs to start doing spot checks with some of these domestic workers to say, confirm with us what it is that you're getting paid. Y'all got to do better, man. Let's read some of your comments. So El Rey has a laughing out loud moment. He says, lawsuit, the truth. Yes, that's what they need to do. Anthony says that's due diligence 101 on the part of these government agencies. Shaking my head. Miss Olive says, Sandy, I personally know a man here on a work permit and him have 4 construction licenses plus janitorial licenses. And I'm very sure about that. And I bet you no business to speak of. And taking out work permits for people that he has no work for. And then telling them to go out there on their own and find work. DJ Truckin says in COVID, they told workers to work 6 hours a day, but they'd only get paid for 3. If they said no, they got let go. I'm assuming you're talking about Palm Heights here. Yulette says the truth will always prevail. Louise says you hit the nail on the head. They always pick on those who try to play by the rules, small companies. Morning Dean says, good job. There's a lot of loose screws that need to be tightened. Micheline says, check out the Pines Retirement Home. Nursing assistants have to care for 5 to 6 patients alone, day or night. Each nursing assistant to ward and getting $1,400 per month. Such sin. Labor Board needs to investigate the management at the Pines Retirement Home. 11 nursing home assistants leaving in less than a year. Now she puts ads in the paper looking for workers. Slavery is still at its highest level. Wow. But isn't the Pines another government? Is it run by government? Is it considered a government agency? What is the Pines exactly? I know they have a board that's appointed. Is that appointed by government? I'm not happy to hear this about the Pines. Again, because we're sending vulnerable elderly people there to be taken care of. And here's the thing, right? It always perplexes me when y'all hire domestic workers and you mistreat them and they're minding your elderly and your children. What are supposed to be your most precious commodities in this world, but you mistreat the people who are looking after them. How you think that can work out for you and the people they're looking after? It's no wonder they don't care what your children doing if they're running about doing the most, because you're treating them like shit. So you're not paying them. You treat them poorly. As Miss Shirley said, you don't want to give them time off. How are they supposed to rest? I've always said, I don't want no live-in helper. Don't be looking at me telling me you can live in. Only recently, last couple of months, I got a full-time one. Because, child, I was like, no, you come once a week. You clean, and then we'll manage otherwise. It's challenging at times, but, you know, my husband and I, we work it out. Okay, you got to go home early today because I got something to do. I got a function to go to. Nobody to stay with Gianna. That's why she's not used to people. When people come around her, she's like, what are you doing in my house? Right? Because she didn't grow up around no helpers and this sort of thing. Now we need a little bit of help now. And she's getting older and the schedule's getting tighter. But I don't need you living with me. I don't need you 24/7 to be working you like a workhorse. You take your time off and live your life. Most of y'all want to live in because really the scam with that is they're on call 24/7. Yep. You're looking for somebody to raise your children for you while you're trying to make more. Good morning to my fellow Leo. He says, Leo's always calling it out what to do. We disturb some people's demons. I love how you say that. Where my hallelujah button is up in here. Shall let's disturb those demons. Yes. Yes. Little praises. Something I was going to say, praise the Lord. Something wrong with my boards this morning. I got to check some settings. Anyway, yes, disturb the demons if that's what it takes. Good morning. Darlene says, Sandy, what God gone wrong with our people? We as Caymanians never treated people so immorally. Well, I don't know about that, honey chill. I'm only a Johnny come lately in the sense that, I can't speak about what happened 100 years ago. But I suspect, given our slave history, if we're willing to be honest, that we've probably always been mistreating people. And we do so in the name of the Lord and with the Bible in our hands. That's just what I'm saying. I'm suspecting that's been going on a while. These things don't just happen overnight. That's why we want to pretend that we never had slaves. They were domesticated for the most part, but still, slavery is slavery. But because they kind of lived adjacent to you, they were in your homes. Well, like I said, people have been mistreating people, their workers, for a very long time. I don't think that's anything new. Good morning, caller.
Yes, hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
I just want to say that I think what the issue is mainly is that we're very good in creating policies, but we suck on the regulation. So we create all these policies that sounds great on paper.
Yes.
We hire a team to carry them out.
And
however, we don't have anyone to check up and ensure that they're actually being followed.
Right.
So, for instance, in a cynical case, that is so easy. Just to make sure whoever you're paying the salary to, that they have an account in their name, and that money goes to them. Okay. Also, too, we don't have a body in which people who are in a vulnerable state, i.e. permit holders that can complain against, mistreatment. There's not a body of a human rights, but yet the Human Rights Commission is right sitting there. What are you doing? We're creating all of these white elephants that's supposed to be doing their job against policy writers, but don't necessarily carry out what their intention are. And we are also a very hypocritical society.
Thank you.
Because we talk about, oh, yes, let's create this, and this shouldn't be happening. But as soon as it comes to them regulating us, then they come with this saying, you don't know who I for? Do you know who I am?
Thank you.
So,
yes.
So I think that we as a society have to change that. It don't matter who you fuck. It don't matter who you know. It don't matter which politician you rub shoulders with.
Exactly.
Policy and regulation is for all.
Yes, absolutely.
And we don't have that in place. We also don't have a consumer protection body that I can go somewhere and say, hey, this contractor took my money and didn't carry out my job. And also have a review system that the person behind me want to hire that same person can say, oh my gosh, they have a 3 grade and 2 grading. Can't go with that.
Yes.
And that is what we have, the resource. I am honestly I'm an advocate that there's a lot of smart people in Cayman that can create something like that. It's just that we live in a society that we are in a hypocritical stage where, yes, let's regulate somebody else, but nobody's going to regulate me. We can't have it both ways.
Absolutely.
So that's all I have to say about that.
Wow. Well, you said a mouthful. Thank you so much, caller.
Thank you.
Well, I can't argue with anything that caller had to say. And it's a sad indictment. And, the fact that we can create, I wouldn't say we have great policies, but we have some. There are things in place. But at the same time, we do a horrible job at enforcement. There's no two ways about it. Like she said, how hard could it be to ensure that someone is actually getting paid what they should be getting paid? You heard what I said to Jeremy yesterday? Well, this is easy to resolve. Labor can just go and check their bank account. Oh, well, they can't really get CNB wouldn't get a bank account. We couldn't get a bank account. Oh, paperwork. All of it, all in my brain, I was hearing was a pile of excuses for why you really not doing the right thing. And it shouldn't be that difficult. It shouldn't be that hard. So we need to do better. I agree with that caller. We need consumer protection. First of all, we need consumer protection legislation. Remember after Hurricane, I guess that would have been Ivan, I believe, the then government, I'm pretty sure it was progressive government, decided to rush through some legislation on what's it called again? Price gouging. Now you know that that's a joke. Never been enforced. Nobody even knows where the legislation is. It's in the virtual universe with dust collecting virtual dust. And it's one of the reasons why people come to CMR. Somehow we've ended up as like the Better Business Bureau, employment complaint department. Everything you want to complain about, you're running to us. That's why Thursdays, I'm dedicating Thursdays to labor and consumer issues, because there are so many of them every single day. And I'm not exaggerating. I get at least one phone call complaining about mistreatment in some way, shape, or form. I got one yesterday. The person says, Sandy, you need to come see me. You're not going to believe what just happened with me and a particular individual at the planning department, who, by the way, for years has been receiving complaint over complaint after complaint. So much so, the solar guys don't want to work with him. They complain about him. He's an inspector. And I'm going to soon put his behind on blast after I talk to this last person, because they said they got all the documents. They got everything ready for me. I just need to make time to go and see them. I'm so sick and tired of civil servants taking advantage of the system too, because they've been there for donkey years. And they're walking around with this chip on their shoulder. Ooh, I'm Cayman's best electrical inspector, so I'm going to make your life difficult. This person has delayed jobs for no legitimate reason, costing people thousands of dollars. And government is not prepared to do anything about him, because government don't ever fire you. What kind of mess is that? Y'all don't have any idea how many complaints I have ended up receiving about this individual over the years. And then when I start talking about people, Sandra got issue with him. I'm like, not me with the complaints. He better not have messed. As a matter of fact, when it came to getting my electrical inspection done for our solar panels, like when we did all that, and I didn't really do anything with the generator. That was Marlin and Corporate Electric. But I specifically said, don't have this guy come to my house and do this inspection, because his reputation, and him and I have had a personal issue. Yes, I can already see where this is going to go. But he's a tyrant in the name of walking around with an electrical badge on his shoulder, because he thinks being an electrical inspector makes him somebody special. That, as Caymanians would say, that when you not come from nowhere, nothing, you get a little job, good for you. You've been there a couple of donkey years, good for you. And then you become a tyrant and you make people's lives miserable. He'd be up in there inspecting plumbing stuff. Oh, well, this not gonna pass plumbing inspection, so I can't pass you. You need to do that. It's like, dude, what did you say your job was? You're the electrical inspector. Why are you getting into plumbing? Why are you doing stuff about the roof? Because he believes he's the planning director, you see. And no one is prepared to rein him in. Well, the call I got yesterday sounds like he might be reined in real soon. Keep it up. And planning department has received countless complaints about this individual. And, we can move him to another section, because that's what government does. You're not performing, you're doing a horrible job, they just shift you somewhere else. You get a promotion, honey chill, for bad behavior. Anyway, y'all hold on to that thought, because that soon come. Al says the house slaves have always thought that they were different from the field slaves. Welcome to the Cayman Islands. That's what they think. It don't make no difference. If you're a slave, honey child. Miss Olive says, yes, Sandy, 100% true with Seneca. My friend gone home. She used to work, take care of an elderly woman. She lived in, so no day off. She had to buy her own food. Her daughter and granddaughter was collecting $2,200 per month for two persons to take care of the lady. But they only used one person who was a friend of mine and paid her $700 per month. And that was about 2 years ago. And my friend didn't know until the granddaughter's husband didn't get his cut out of the extra insurance money, and he revealed everything. Wow. So they were supposed to have two workers. They hired one. So they're collecting $2,200 and paid her $700. That is theft, fraud, deception, something. And if the government knows that people are taking advantage of the system in this way, they need to rein it in. Here's another thing that we discovered recently, and I'm aware that I haven't played the news, by the way. I'm very conscious of that. We'll get to it. Remember when there was something recently with an insurance company and not insurance company, my apologies, the funeral home, and somebody asking, and then inadvertently they let the kitty out of the bag right here on CMR. Even funeral homes, let me be very clear, it was not bought in funeral home, is taking advantage of the NAU benefits, the burial benefits. And I want to make it very clear, very loud this morning. If you're someone who can't afford to bury your loved one and you go to NAU, they have a program where they will assist you. It is a flat fee program, $3,000, the most basic package. And you are not then allowed on your own to add on anything. You can't increase the design on the casket, add on additional services. Because the position is if government, AKA the people of the Cayman Islands, have to pay for your loved one to even be buried into the ground, they need to start cremating him, as far as I'm concerned, then that means that you can't afford any add-ons. You can't afford anything extra. You can't be flossing during the funeral service. The big time casket and this, that, and the next thing, like you could actually afford it. You're going to have a minimal, decent funeral. And so it came out that this family had upgraded. That's why they were asking for donations. They had upgraded their package. Now, I didn't know anything about this. But as it turns out, that's not allowed. So all of a sudden, the funeral home was in a panic. Well, who told CMR about this and blah, blah, blah. And the family calling, oh, we need to withdraw that request. How do you withdraw something that was on live radio, honey child? It's already out there. But obviously, somebody is defrauding the Cayman Islands government. Because if the funeral home knows that that is the policy and they're not supposed to do it, why would you entertain a family, whether they knew or didn't know, whatever? You have to tell them, madam, sir, grieving family, you're on a package that Cineco is paying for. That means no add-ons whatsoever, even if you're trying to pay for it. Because if you could find money to pay for an add-on, you can find money to pay for the damn funeral. That's the truth. So you see how people are abusing the system at every turn, even in death. And then they want to complain. Oh, the government not taking care of people. The government not do that. The government not got no money. Oh, they put us through the ringer. Yes, because y'all abusing the system. There's a reason why. Dean says the construction industry is a slippery, slimy snake. You can't grab onto it. Use your machete and chop the head off. Just use your machete and chop the head off. My goodness, what a mess. Lacey says when a divorce is happening, it's so easy for authorities to get access to bank accounts. Well, you know, they need to get access to these things to make sure that people are fulfilling their legal obligations. Flashpoint says, do you really think that the big business entities and business lobby groups will ever allow any actual consumer protection legislation to be passed in the Cayman Islands? It's sad. Because unfortunately, the consumers ultimately suffer because of it. Lacey Love says, ooh, I know who you're talking about. Well, if you've ever had anybody to deal with in planning and the electrical side, everybody knew who I'm talking about because there's one tyrant. Miss Andrea says, that's the truth, Sandy. You always have to be the organization shedding the light. Yeah, and then people be trying to hate on me, child. Oh, why is Sandy trying to call him out here, Caymanian, from East End with a family? And he's also a tyrant. And even his East End people know it. When they see him coming down the street, they walk on the next side with his high chest. Flashpoint says the electrical inspection process in the Cayman Islands would be a joke if it was not putting life and safety at risk. Someone is going to eventually get killed because of incompetent inspectors. Well, I'm not saying that he's incompetent. I'm saying that he goes a bit too far with certain things that really have nothing to do with electrical inspections even. And he purposely stops projects and delays projects because he wants people to think that he is so almighty and so powerful. I've heard the words come out of his own mouth. Well, I went to the Ritz-Carlton and I told them, no, this is not going to get passed today. And then, Kurt Tibbetts called me and said, what the hell are you doing? I said, nope, I don't care. I'm a civil servant. You can't talk to me. I'm like, Lord Jesus, here we go. Yes, there is an issue, Magdalene, with planning, generally speaking, not having enough inspectors. And the ones who are there are leaving because they're overstressed and overworked in the whole 9 yards. Salvin says there's no secret as to whom you speak, as reputation is well known, true or false. And I speak no lies about this person. The reputation is very well known and it precedes him for a reason, because it's true. And government know about it. The current planning minister, you know how many complaints he's gotten already just being in for the last year? Y'all don't even know. Thank you, K-Man Detailing. K-Man Detailing says, whatever form of regulation we currently have in sales, building, food, rental, etc., the same that people we complaining about are the same people sitting on said boards are working in one of these establishments. Well, that's true too. Big fancy caskets are a waste of time, says El Ray. Spend that money on your loved ones while they're alive. Exactly. You're putting that into the ground for what? Oh, Lord. Michelin says I need to go to the Pines retirement home. Do they just let people in? Like, can I just walk in there, although I don't know anybody there? Child, they might be like, you can't come in here. One nursing assistant assigned to 5 or 6 bed patients. Oh, this sounds quite serious. Wow. Not a good look. Not a good look. Debbie says, I just laughed so hard my tea spilled all over my desk. Lord, oh my goodness. Oh, don't hurt yourself now. Somebody else on WhatsApp saying this person is a POS. You figure out what POS stands for. Someone says they're using the drawdown money to buy land and invest in other things. Oh, what a mess. Someone says if you add on, you have to pay for it out of pocket. No, but if you're on the government, this is the funeral thing now. If you're on the government plan where governments pay for it, you don't get to add on. Someone says, you try and behave. I know why you not like him, but yes, he's a horse's ass and should never have been given the power to mess with so much under construction over the years. Well, honey child, I'm just speaking the truth. I may not care for the person on a personal level, but that I got nothing to do with this. They're very, very separate things. You see, I can compartmentalize in life. I cannot like you, not care for you, but yet you call me and you need my help, and I'm still going to help you. And I'm still going to speak the truth. And if the truth is that you're a little tyrant working in the planning department, then it is what it is. Someone's asking if you have a better business bureau in the Cayman Islands. No. And you know, many, many years ago, I looked into starting a better business bureau here, but child, I was calling everybody in the States like how to do this. And they're like, oh, we don't really have that overseas. Nope, and nope. And I'm like, can't we start a chapter? Because then they have websites with like grading systems. And I think you could do something similar. You just probably wouldn't be able to call it the Better Business Bureau because that name is a copyrighted name, right? So you'd have to call it something else. All right, few outstanding questions. The situation on Cayman Brac with the baby. Let me address this quickly. We've not received anything official. The young man, I don't even know how old he is, that is was at the scene, supposedly outside smoking that morning. Remember the mother's boyfriend. He has been arrested. So y'all get the story straight now, though. But he has not been arrested in relation to anything to do with the child. So we're going to put this story up a little bit later on the website, and people see it on social media. He has been arrested for, let me tell you now, hold on. His name is Devin Wright Jr. He's 31 years old, currently residing in Cayman Brac. He was arrested on Saturday, August the 6th, on suspicion of possession of cocaine. He has since been formally charged, and that happened on Monday. So we'll stick that up on the website. So he's not yet arrested in relation to anything to do with the child, because people are still saying, oh, this one was arrested. I'm hearing all kind of rumors. No one has yet been arrested with anything to do with the child. We haven't heard anything. Again, I hear a lot of rumors, but I cannot say that any of those rumors are coming from a source that I'm going to lay down and put my neck on a block for. So until I feel more confident in my sources, then we're going to just hang tight and see what happens. Selvin says government services should enable the people to comply rather than being preventative, and some civil servants are becoming a mini government unto themselves. Marshall says, I went to school with that person that you're referring to in the electrical department, and I've heard about his behavior, and it's not good. Listen, I could tell y'all some stories that have made their way to my ears about what this person does, hurting his own Caymanians who are trying a little something. He will stop their projects just because he can. Right? It's like ego tripping and narcissism combined with a badge. And you walk around being this person that's like a tyrant. And it's not a good look on the planning department, none at all. It's really sad, in fact. The other question I saw come through from Ms. Brenda was, what's going on with Ms. Cayman? What's the latest? Well, you know, the committee is maintaining their position. So I guess nothing is changing. I can understand from a logical perspective why now they have a problem on their hands. Because they accepted her. They never had the criteria in place to begin with. So they were in the wrong, really, for not having a much clearer application process. She was also wrong because, let's be very clear, at the time that she applied, she could have told them about this situation. She has admitted to deciding and applying 2 weeks after the incident, which I'm shocked at. I'm like, you beat up 3 people, including a police officer, assaulting them and damaging 2 vehicles and all this kind of stuff. And 2 weeks later, you're like, oh, I should have a crown on my head to represent the people of the Cayman Islands? That blows my mind. I do not understand that kind of thinking. That says something about the person. Not even a month went by. You didn't even go to church and ask for forgiveness. You didn't go see a priest. 2 weeks. And you're like, oh yeah, I should be Miss Cayman. What the Ross? So she didn't tell them about it at the time of the application. When she was charged in January, so now she knows the process is definitely going to court, she also did not tell them at that time. She didn't tell them till June, when it was coming up in the cause list and other people were seeing it. And she kind of had no choice then but to go to them and said, oh, I've got this situation, blah, blah, blah. At that point, they could have still guided her in a different direction, and they didn't. And so as a result, and I'm not even posting this on social media because, you know, they're going to be like, oh, Sandy's picking on this little girl, blah, blah, blah. She was supposed to be doing an interview, an online interview today. And unfortunately, that interviewer, I think he's a Spanish blogger or whatever, who he goes into, I guess he's into the pageant world and talks to beauty queens. That's like his thing. He has withdrawn, my apologies. Soka, don't call me now about that word, you know. It was just a mispronunciation. He has withdrawn his invite for them to come on the program and for her to be interviewed. And the worst part is he has posted it on social media with her picture of her in a bathing suit Talk about a slap in the face and a complete embarrassment to the Cayman Islands. Wow. We are getting it handed to us, and the committee is still in place. He says, I want to apologize for canceling hashtag Miss Comentarios live Thursday, August the 11th with, and then he tags her with Tiffany Leanne, hashtag Miss Cayman Islands, but she needs to handle personal matters before interviews. Even to him got more sense than the committee, because the committee is pushing this girl out in the public forum at every opportunity, knowing that there's a scandal surrounding her. Why would you do that? You know how embarrassing this is now? I don't know how many followers this guy has, but I'm sure he has a few. How embarrassing this is for him to have to post this. And that is what's showing up on his wall for thousands and thousands of people around the world to see. We have the India Times, and where was this other one? Honduras, Jamaica Gleaner. All of them now are running this story about Miss Cayman having charges. And I see the most ridiculous comments about, oh, Sandy, we hear you the one who's sending them stuff. I'm like, really? First of all, praise the Lord that they didn't even refer to CMR. They referred to the CNS article. So that's where they got it from. They're not getting none from me. And you can better believe that I'm not sitting out here sending around Cayman News Service articles to anybody. But there are other people want to again make this about me, and it has nothing to do with me. There are other people out there who are very aggrieved by this situation. And they, I know, are contacting Miss Universe International. They're even going as far as saying, strip Cayman from the franchise. I was like, what? They think that we should lose the franchise for Miss Universe as a lesson to this committee. Now that's rough. That's rough and regular. Wow. That's the only update I got, honey chow. I don't know what else to say. Sawit says, y'all wait till after technologies charges to the public. After, why not post those before the final show? That's what I want to know. That would have influenced the crowding. Well, Sawit, that's actually not correct. We had a show about this on July the 20th. So please go back and watch the show. And we talked about it. I had to request the file from the court office and make sure that I was talking from an informed position. So once I became aware of her charges, I reached out to the Miss Cayman committee myself. And I said, what are you all going to do about this? What are your intentions to fix the situation? Their position, their response shocked me because apparently they weren't prepared to do anything. And I said, you guys are potentially putting her in a position where she could win. And then you're going to have to strip her of her title for someone who you say has mental health concerns. How can you do that to this child? But now you see, they're not going to take any responsibility. Sawit, pay attention now. They want to put the responsibility on everybody else. Anyone who is put in a position of being in the limelight would have past actions and current actions highlighted. That's nothing new here. The president of the United States, the former president, what's his name? Donald Trump. He was going around, I think we're finally off radio now, so I can say this word. He was going around grabbing people by the pussy. And guess what? None of that came out until he ran for president of the United States. Why is this question coming up? This to me is such a stupid question. Of course, your past behavior comes up when you're now a public figure that is supposed to be a role model for other people, and your current behavior comes up. So this is deflecting in the most ridiculous way. Why wouldn't it come up? She's put herself out there as a role model, and I want to wear a crown on my head. It happens to every celebrity. Donald Trump, when he was just a private business owner, we didn't care what the hell Donald Trump was doing. But the second he decides to run for president of the United States, and he's running on a religious ticket, he's running on I support these moral principles of this conservative party. When his behavior does not align with that, do you not question, well, how he can go around grabbing people by the pom-pom? That's sexual assault. We question his financial affairs because he's broke. He's more broke. He just gets a good line of credit than most of us. So yes, this is the real world. You win something and you're in the limelight, people are going to start asking questions when your life is messier than hell. That's logical. But the truth of the matter is, it was brought up before she won. So fact check yourselves, people. Stop saying that because it's factually not correct. It was brought up. And the committee knew about it beforehand. They decided to do nothing. They, when I called them and I said, oh my God, I just read the court file and I am shocked. I'm surprised at what I'm reading. They're like, oh, well, she said it was self-defense. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I spoke to the victims. They're afraid. They're saying she can kill somebody one day and you talking about self-defense? So don't put this on nobody else's shoulders. Oh, people exposing this. Yes. That's what the job of the media is expose shit. The people that are responsible are the ones who now are sitting back, trying to, again, are doing all the wrong thing. They have no concept of crisis management. They are pushing her in the limelight when, if they had any real common sense, they would be pulling her back. So look at the embarrassment now. This international guy, what the hell his name is? He is having to cancel her appearance. You know how that must make her feel? But she claimed that she don't care about any of this stuff. And she doesn't read any of the comments. So of course, if she's permitted to live in an oblivious state and not know what's going on, she's okay with it. But I'm pretty sure this morning that she is aware of the fact that her interview has been canceled with this beauty blogger, whatever he is. And remember what Derry said on Monday? Oh, the beauty bloggers don't care about this stuff. They consider this bullying. Really? Well, they just posted that she's got some business of her own to be taken care of. Luis Alfonso, whatever, he has over 342,000 followers. And he posted that on his Instagram stories. Wow. That's kind of messed up. What a mess. 12 hours ago. Whoa. That's crazy. And once again, the committee is sitting in a state of obliviousness, doing only God knows what, not handling this crisis very well, trying to blame everybody else. It's a sad day in the Cayman Islands. And again, the ministry remains uncharacteristically silent. They're more silent than a church mouse right now. Not a squeak, nothing. And there are people asking questions. Miss Brenda says maybe the public needs to boycott the pageant. I guess we have to wait an entire year now to be able to do that, Miss Brenda, because unfortunately, I don't know how we boycott it now. People say they want their money back. I don't know. She says, boycott it until this unfortunate situation is rectified in the proper way. Talk about people power. That would be a good start. Really sad. Anthony says, even the blind can see what needs to be done. What a mess. Folks, I don't know what else to say on it. I wish her the best. I think that, they're just kicking the can down the road. Eventually, they're going to have to make a move, and it's not going to be something she's going to be happy about. They should be focusing, instead of making her stay in a delusional state, they should be focusing on her being very realistic about what it is that she's facing and starting to live her life with taking some degree of accountability for her actions. You can't say that you have changed when not saying that change can't happen overnight, but 2 weeks after you assaulted all these people and did all this stuff, you were running in a pageant. That speaks to someone who's delusional, who's not based in reality. And you just pretend like it didn't happen. No apology to these people, nothing. And the enablers that are surrounding her in the name of, oh, let's protect her mental health. Let's not hurt her feelings. We don't want to say nothing harsh. Y'all are doing more damage than good. People need the truth in their lives. That's the only way that you can grow and develop as a person. If no one ever tells you the truth, how do you live your life? Come on now. Jesus, help us, because y'all need it. Andrea says, yes, even Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles can see. And both of them were blind. But they had a certain ability to see the truth and not necessarily with your physical eyes. It's a sad day. And the committee is floundering. They don't seem to know what they're doing. And they're just making a messy situation even messier. And the ministry not giving them help. The ministry better try and go find a crisis manager and assign them to this situation and try to clean this up. Ms. Brenda says, have they thought about future contestants and their sponsorship opportunities? Also support from the franchise sponsors. Like I said, there are some people who are saying that the franchise holders, which is the Miss Universe International, should pull Cayman's franchise completely. Someone even said, I think, is it Miss Celeste Broderick? Is that her name? That they should have left it with her, should give it to her as a private franchise. I don't know anything about that history and what that is, but somebody said that to me yesterday. Andrea says the committee lacks vision. Well, they lack a lot of things, but vision is definitely one of them. Sad. And then I hear it, I'm going on talking about they're so stressed out about this situation. Anyway, folks, y'all have a beautiful day. Tomorrow is Friday, so it's going to be Politics Friday. We got some saltiness going on with the progressives again. Oh, they seem to want to stay in this constant mode of salty. Yeah, all right. Well, we're here for it. Selvin says, if the crown is to be taken away, I see lawsuits, but most importantly, committee should seek to give the young lady the help she may need before final decision is made. What a mess. What a mess. I don't think at this point they can take her crown because their slackness started at the beginning, the recruitment process. They didn't ask the question and she didn't bother to divulge it. And I don't know what their, apparently there is an element of, good moral characters, good behavior, something in there. They could potentially get away with it under that part, but Ms. Brenda says they've caused undue stress on this young lady also, given that some thought is that helping her mental state. And I agree. And it was the same thing I said. Is Sawit still here? This is what I said to them beforehand. I said, you do understand what is going to happen if she wins, and then you have to deal with this. Try to avoid that situation. It's not going to be good for her mental state. I said those exact same words, Miss Benda. Thank you, honey, for acknowledging you're still here. I said that to them. And it fell on deaf ears. I said, why would you do this to her? Right? Why? It's ridiculous. Go back and have a look. They're just too worried about, protecting their own reputation, I guess, and whatever. That's not the important stuff. I'm trying to go back in my messages and see when I started conversing with them about this Miss Cayman situation. It was earlier in July for sure. So I sent them it looks like it was July the 12th. The person sent me something on WhatsApp inquiring about Tiffany. Yes. They had, hi CMR, apologies for reaching out in this way, but I thought to be the most appropriate forum. As a concerned citizen of the Cayman Islands, I'd be grateful if you could clarify the following in respect of the Miss Cayman Islands pageant. After doing some research into the various contestants, can we as a community get some clarity on Miss Tiffany Connolly? As a contestant who may very well go on to the world stage at Miss Cayman Universe, has she been cleared of the charges for which was before the court earlier this year? I understand the concept of guilty until proven innocent. I think they just reversed this, supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But it strikes me as strange that she's allowed to participate and potentially win, given an ongoing court case for serious allegations. Has a verdict been rendered? A quick Google search of the criminal records indicates that she appeared before Magistrate Gunn early this year. They even provide the case number. How can we feel as a society if she wins and then becomes internationally known? This was asked on July the 12th. I set that very question to the Miss Cayman committee. And I started to get other people, because you see it was showing up on the cause list. I sent that to Derry Dakers, 3:22 on July the 12th. So, Sawit, as you can see, this was being asked before she won. This is not a case of, oh, she won and all of a sudden we care when we didn't care before. And I said, this is a valid question. You know what the response I got back? Are you going to publish it? Because they're only minded and concerned about that. The reputation, nothing else, no substance. And I said, I kind of don't have a choice. I said, this person sent a question looking for an answer. Then they started researching the individual who sent it to me, saying, who is this person? I'm like, what does that matter? You see the problem? And then somebody else on Instagram sent it to me, a copy of the cause list, saying, what? So at that point, I requested the court file. I did not get it. So I requested it from probably like the 13th or 14th of the month. I did not get it until, let me tell you when. Just refreshing my memory from messages. I didn't get it until, I'm going to say, the 19th, because I responded and said, I just finished reading her files. And they're like, oh, what did you find out? I said, it's a lot, and she's a liar. She should be in jail. That was my initial response to the committee. So y'all can't say that we weren't concerned about this before. But what you don't know is we were behind the scenes trying to give them every opportunity to fix it. Because I do that a lot. I don't just put it out in blast. I go to the individuals. This is what's being said. This is what, fix this, fix this, fix this. I can't force them to do anything. It's sad. Because they had an opportunity then to sit down and have a conversation with her, and it didn't happen. We can't control other people's actions, honey child. We can only do what we can do. So now that we're on top of the story, they want it to look like, oh, we have an issue with her because she won. Maybe we had a stake in this game, like we wanted somebody else to win. I didn't even really follow the pageant this year, so I couldn't even tell you who any of the other girls are. I don't even know Tiffany. I have nothing against her. This isn't really about her in that sense. There's a broader issue here that we all need to be concerned about. K-Man Detailing says this makes no sense at all. I personally think they're using her to cover up something bigger. It's just a level of disconnectedness and oblivion, and whatever the word is, to the entire situation. Even when they were describing her traffic offense, where she was refusing to pay that woman with Salima from 2018, they downplay that in the Keyman and the Star 92.7 interview. Oh, it was just a minor traffic thing. No, it wasn't. It was a young lady who showed a level of defiance for authority. When the judge orders you to do something on multiple occasions and you refuse to do it, and then you tell the woman you get what the duck get. All that woman wanted was to have her vehicle fixed. And she had to go through over a year of hell to be able to get that from this young lady and her family. Because as an 18-year-old who didn't even have a driver's license, driving your sister's car, who's Miss Cayman at the time, you would have thought the family would have done the right thing and just paid this woman. And then if they needed to get the money back from Tiffany, I don't know what the situation was, right? But she was a contestant in the pageant at the time. How do you allow that to happen? So there's a lot of people around this girl who's not guiding her well. They're on eggshells around her, and I don't know. Well, I shouldn't say I don't know why. I guess I could guess why. They don't want to get beaten up again. I don't know. But that has to stop. You need to get her professional help. And in certain situations, you need to help her. Why was that situation with the car allowed to go on for all that time? And Salima reached out to the committee then as well. So the committee can't say that it's a minor issue. When she reached out and said, I've been dealing with this, and this is the attitude that I'm getting. These are the messages, that gives you an insight into how somebody thinks and their personality. And none of those traits that were exhibited then are becoming of a queen, of someone who should be representing the Cayman Islands, to have that kind of attitude about them at such a young age. And yet they justify all of this by saying that they believe in second chances. Well, so do I. But there's certain things you have to do. You have to prove yourself in order to get a second chance. You know, people go to jail and they get a second chance, but they go to jail first. They pay their debt to society. They pay the debt to the victim. If there's compensation to be made, they pay that too. Then there is redemption, right? Redemption doesn't come just after the fall. It comes after the fall, and then you get punished. You have consequences. And then you're able to pull up your bootstraps and get back up and say, all right, I've made some poor decisions in my life. I've boxed one too many people down. I can do better. I'm better than this. You get therapy because clearly that's needed. And you move on a more positive path in life. That's how you get a second chance. People see you doing the right thing for a sustained period of time. 2 weeks is not a sustained period of time. Not in any book. That's all I can say. Where does the buck stop? The buck stops with the ministry and the minister himself. I've reached out to them days now for a comment. No comment has been forthcoming. Anthony says there's no way to spin or deflect this matter. Just fix it. Linda says, you're the best, Miss Sandra. Well, I appreciate that, my love. I do my best, you know. I know it doesn't give you a fan club, really. People don't like to hear the truth, and that's okay, because it is what it is. It's not a popular position. I'm not looking to win any contest or crowns or anything else, but that's okay. Folks, I wish you a good day. I've gotten some footage from the accident last night. We'll be putting that up here shortly. I'm hoping that there have been no fatalities, but gosh, Cayman roads, for a country that literally has a one-way, one little stretch of road, my God, we sure can have some accidents around the place. Yay. Y'all need to slow down. You need to stop drinking and driving, because that is a factor in the vast majority of accidents, especially when y'all out 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you're leaving a bar or a friend's home all sauced up. And so, Cut it out. Because sometimes you're killing yourselves or you're killing innocent people in your vehicles or on the roadways, and it's just not right. My good people, y'all have a blessed day. We'll catch you tomorrow morning, God's willing, Friday, little Friday party. Hopefully, I'm going to get the phone situation sorted out because I'm going to get online with tech support right now and see what's going on. And then we can take phone calls through the board properly. All right? And then we'll do some giveaways tomorrow. A lot of you are messaging me about the wellness planners and planning books. And y'all want one, so pay attention tomorrow and see how you can get your hands on one of those. Until then, folks, be blessed, not stressed, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.